welcome to our Monday stream, but Keeper Sam is not with us this week, so instead we have the wonderful Virginia coming in to take over for a couple of weeks. Today we will not be playing Pulp Cthulhu as we have been. Instead, we're going to be playing the Spy Game, a new game developed by Black Cats Gaming with writers RPG Webby and Virginia can tell you the other one because she knows. Before we go around and say hello to everyone, please check out the opening links. This is all the places you can find us socially, all of the places you can go to support us, places you can find information about our sponsors, Mage Hand Press and Bird and the Storm Publishing, who we're very grateful to because they make this all possible. Also, there'll be a link to the tweet, and the tweet, if you could go and retweet the tweet, that would really, really help us out. So, shall we go around? Virginia, would you like us to start with you or end with you?
You can end with me. Let's see the wonderful players. I'm very excited.
Excellent. Let's go round starting with Aniksta then. Oh, hi, Anik.
Hello. Anik. You can find me at Anikster. Very excited to see what's going to happen to, well, me and my character today. I'm coming in quite blank. And if we're still doing self-promotion, my interview with International Women in Tabletop went live on their website today. And you can actually find a link to that on my Twitter feed.
Can you put that link in chat for us?
Of course I can.
Because I'll definitely put that in a fresh tab and watch it later. That sounds awesome.
It's text only, so you can read it whenever you feel like it.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next around, we say hi to Wild Engineer.
Hi, I'm Mild Engineer. Gosh, I don't know what to say. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. What am I saying? Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Find my Twitter, Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Twitter link there in chat. Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Nice to have you always. And next around, let's say hi to Witherbrick Ray.
Hey, I'm Ray. I'm with a brick. Kind of the same thing as well. Don't know what to say, but I'm really excited to play this game because I've never played a heist type game, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you can find me at With a Brick on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram, almost anywhere. So yeah.
Awesome sauce, thank you. Next around we have QTV.
That would be me. Hi, I'm Vicky. And yeah, there's not much to say. I will play Lynx, at least that far you can see in the screen. And you can find me on QD_V on Twitter. And yeah, curious to play this.
Yeah, it's going to be good fun. So that does bring us to you, Virginia. Oh, hi. Why don't you shed some light on us all? What are we doing today?
Okay, so today we are playing the Spy Game, which is a game written by two wonderful friends of mine, Sam and James. So you can find Sam at RPG Webby on Twitch and Twitter. And you can follow at Follow Black Cats on Twitter is their company. And they are producing this awesome game, which is kind of spies and international espionage set in a modern setting for 5e. It's kickstarting from the 2nd of July. So if you head over to their website, which is blackcatsgaming.com, you can sign up for the newsletter to get all of the information on that as it starts happening. And the quick start, which is the rules that we're using to run off today, is available on drivethroughrpg.com if you search for the Spy Game Quick Start. But don't worry, we're not running the adventure from the quick start today, so there are no spoilers here for that. We are running a different kind of adventure, though, which I will set up in a moment. But I just want to say thank you again for having me back over on the Academy. I love being here. It's fun.
We love having you.
Thank you to Sam and James, who I think are both in Twitch chat, for letting me run this and providing me with a bunch of materials last minute when I was like, hey, can I have all this stuff? So the first thing I'd really like to start with, if you're okay with us just starting, Scrat?
Yeah, by all means.
Is to go around and have a look at your characters and see, let Twitch know who it is that you're choosing to play, and we're going to figure out some of the background stuff and a little bit about your agency as well before we get into what it is you'll actually be sent off to do. So why don't we start with you, Scrap?
Sure. Today I will be playing codename Genli, who is the martial artist. As I understand, they are an expert with unarmed attacks and a katana, and also some survival things. Should we just... How would you like to do this? Should we go through the background stuff, or do you want me to talk about some more of their class features? What should we do?
We can go through some of the background stuff first. We'll start with that. To get everyone up to speed, make sure everyone's got everything they need filled in. So, Scrat, what did you pick for your nationality?
I will be Japanese.
Japanese, awesome. And which languages do you speak?
I speak Japanese and English.
Okay.
Seems obvious, but it's
always useful.
Yeah, that one was a gift. It just came to me.
So you have a double life. So all of you will have a double life of some sort. And you can go with what's on the pre-generated characters that we're using, or if you've got another idea, please tell me. But Scrat, what is your double life?
I am, in fact, a famous Paralympian.
Have you won any medals?
Yes, but unfortunately I don't still hold them.
Okay. And how long ago was that? Was it quite a while ago, or are you quite recent in your fame?
Well, the fame was maybe a few years back, but the scandal is still quite fresh and recent.
Okay.
There was a bit of a scandal.
What was the scandal?
I was accused of abusing drugs and cheating. So I had my medals redacted. I say accused, they might have proved it.
Okay. And what about your ideal? What is your ideal for this character?
Personal goals matter more than competition.
Okay, so you're a little bit kind of self-serving about what you need to get done. Okay. We're going to leave bonds for a minute, because I'd like to link some of you guys up in terms of those. Who is next? I can't see Twitch, so I can't see who is next kind of clockwise round.
Anik is below me.
Awesome.
Hello.
Who are you playing?
I will playing codename The Legs, and I am a technician.
Oh, the technician. I have a soft spot for the technician.
This can only end well.
So we've got your code name is The Legs.
Yes.
And what nationality, what background have you picked there?
I am actually French.
Okay. And which languages do you speak?
English and French.
So you've also got a double life.
I do. I am, in fact, one of the mechanics for the Renault Formula 1 team.
Oh, nice. So that's what you do outside
lots of travel, lots of tinkering. No suspicious reasons to have lots of stamps in my passport.
Okay. And there is a secret. And it's up to you if you want to tell everyone what that secret is, or if you'd like to let me know privately what that secret is. It can be something that's a secret from the agency. Maybe it's a secret from all of your teammates here, or maybe they know what it is. I'll leave that up to you.
I will be telling you this privately.
Okay. Drop me a message in the chat, and I will look up on that. So you've also got an ideal, which is kind of the driving force, the thing about your character. What is your ideal?
You're only as good as the tech around you.
Okay. So you're going to have a lot of fun with gadgets and fun items. I know I did when I played the technician in the playtest. So,
yep.
And we're gonna. There's a bond on that sheet, but like I said, I quite like to link you guys up in terms of having bonds with each other for this, because I think it will be fun. So, who is next in the circle of Twitch?
The medic, Dr. Mercical.
Aha. So you're playing the medic.
Ooh, yes. Mercical. Thank you very much. Mercical.
Is that your code name, or is that your real name?
Code name.
That's your code name. Okay. And what nationality have you picked for your character?
I just said he's straight up American.
Okay. You get 3 languages as the medic. So what 3 have you picked?
I went with English, German, and Russian.
Okay. And you also have a double life, just like everybody else. What is your double life? What do you do when you are not running around the globe with your agency?
He works as a pediatrician in a small town.
Okay, so nice quiet life then.
Yeah, super quiet. He's a super nice guy.
Okay, you also have a secret,
Hmm.
and it's up to you. Is this a secret that your team knows, or is it a secret that only you know?
I'd say it's a secret only I know.
Only you know. Okay, if you also drop me a message about what that is,
Sure.
we can see if we can play with that. You also have an ideal. So as the medic, as the good doctor who's a nice, quiet doctor in a small town, what is your ideal?
That discretion is the best part of espionage.
Okay, so you do quite like you're quite quiet, reserved,
Hmm.
keeping things a secret. Interesting. Okay. And who have we got next?
Next, we have Ray with a brick.
Yeah. I'm playing codename Wings, and I'm the face.
Oh, so you're playing the kind of the front of the group then.
Yes. Terrifyingly so, but I'm gonna do it.
It will all be fine. So you've got your code name, which is the Wings, and I have to ask, where did the code name come from?
My eyeliner, 110%. As soon as I got into Zoom, everybody was like, "Your wings." I was like, "Codename, done."
So what nationality have you picked?
I have picked French American.
Okay. And how about for your languages? What have you picked there?
I picked English, French, and German for my languages.
Okay. There's a couple of languages in here that I think are going to come in very, very useful for you guys.
Sweet.
What about your double life? What do you do outside of running around the world being a spy?
I'm an aide to the French embassy. So my mother was French and my father was an American general in the military base and got together, and I grew up kind of on a military base and in that, so I decided to kind of get into that whole diplomatic government agency because of my relationship with my father. So I now work as an aide to the French embassy.
Okay, so very diplomatic then.
Yes.
And you have a secret as well. Now, is this a secret that only you know, or is it a secret that your teammates are aware of, but maybe the agency or anybody else isn't?
I will message you the secret. It is something
Okay.
that nobody knows.
Okay. Oh, I like this. There's so many secrets within the group already. And how about your ideal?
I chose diplomacy is the velvet glove that disguises the fist of power.
Okay, so you're very well aware of all the power that sits behind the scenes and behind the words. And you also have a cover identity. So what is the name of your cover identity?
She's going to be Margaret.
Margaret. Okay, what does she do?
Margaret is a little children's school teacher,
Okay, interesting.
like elementary school.
This is going to be fun. And last but not least,
That's me. That's me.
Yes.
I will play the infiltrator, and my code name is Lynx.
nice. And what nationality have you picked for Lynx?
I am still. I picked French initially, and I was like, no, not more French people. I will switch to Spanish. I'm Spanish.
Okay. And which languages would you like to speak?
English and Spanish then.
English and Spanish. Okay. So you also have a double life.
Yes.
What double life do you lead?
Do I need to tell in public, or can I just DM you?
If you want to message, if you'd rather that be a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So none of your team know what your double life is either then?
Nope.
Okay. You also have a secret. Would you like to message me that privately as well?
I will do as well. I will add that on top because they're linked together. It would be weird if one
Okay.
part it would be like, why? Do you know that?
And how about your ideal then?
I will go with thievery is an art, and I am a master.
Okay. So you're not just about getting in, you're about getting in and getting stuff out.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. What I want now is we're going to not use the bonds that are on the pre-gen sheets, but I want to know, how do you all know each other? Have some of you worked together before? Do some of you know each other maybe from your double life? But how did you all come to be this team for the agency that you work for?
I would like to assert one. If you're okay with it, Dr. Mercicle, I think that Genly often needs healing, and so we perhaps have a good working relationship because you often heal me.
Yeah, that works. He always manages to claim he's on pediatrician conferences, medical conferences to go out and help the team, or at least Genly.
So that's how you both know each other. What about everybody else?
I think if the others are usually put together as a team for missions, I basically just get stuck with first level tech support. It's like a rung above being in the call center, but they're like, okay, these people are barely competent with their email. God forbid we give them a sat nav or a sat phone. You just go with them and just do everything that runs on batteries or battery packs.
So you've kind of been assigned to the group.
Yeah.
As the kind
Don't
of.
get me wrong, I have no issues with them, but assigned.
You've been assigned here to kind of look after the tech side of things for them.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else know each other, or is it maybe you've just kind of worked together for a bit and that's how you know each other because you were assigned as part of this team?
I would assume, at least on my end, that it would be like an assignment for some sort of reason, and that's kind of how I got wrapped into things. But I was also thinking potentially knowing Dr. Mercicle from like my cover identity, like having to live in a small town and go to the pediatrician and like working with children. Like I feel like I would kind of know him via that as well. So maybe that's how I got into the group.
Okay. So at some point, the both of you kind of found out that you both did this thing and you worked for the same agency, and that's kind of how you got brought into the fold. Okay. The one final thing to kind of really figure out is, what is the name of your agency? Who do you work for?
Overclock?
I always just call them the agency.
Yeah.
You can go for just the agency if that's all you know them by.
Overclock sounds good.
You can put it to vote in the chat.
Underwatch? I could make a poll. Do we have any more?
Nothing that would live up to your level right now.
Let's make a quick poll then.
Okay.
Oh, we could call it the archery club.
Okay, so poll voting on agency name option. I've just upped the agency. Overclock. Underwatch. Are there any more? The archery club. Any more for any more?
No, I just want our group to be called the A-Team.
Well, we'll see what Twitch chat comes back with for that, for the name of the agency. The other thing that you have to decide is, what is the name of your handler and how do they contact you? So this is the person that directly gives you your missions, your briefings, that will contact you mid-mission if something comes up. This is the person that you will get in contact with should you have to report back to the agency. Now, it could be that you've met this person in person. And that's how you receive your mission briefings. It could be that they only communicate with you via electronic speech over a screen. It could be letters dropped at your door. This is effectively who I'm going to be for the rest of the game. So you get to have some fun here in terms of who is this person, have you met them, and how do they communicate with you most of the time, and how do you get in contact with them?
I mean, for some of us, I like the idea of letters being dropped off because it's very in keeping with our regular game, but that feels too analog for me, so I'd like either emails or those auto-destruct bombs you get in Mission Impossible, that sort of thing. You know, auto-destruct goggles to do a video message. I could go with those. I have no idea what they're called, though. I'll leave that to the rest.
I mean, if you want it to be that you get recorded messages that auto-destruct, or it all comes through a kind of electronic screen.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay.
That works.
Good.
Yeah, I'm happy
What-
with that.
What is the name of your handler? What do they refer to themselves as? What do you call them?
I really like the name Monarch. It's just so aggressive.
Monarch and M for short.
Ooh,
Yeah. Either Monarch or M. That'd be really easy.
that sounds cool.
You're going for Monarch.
I'm keen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, in which case, we will start the beginning of your adventure.
In that case, I'll close the voting on that poll.
Yeah. Let's
Um,
see what we got.
Overclock won with 6 votes. There we go.
Overclock. Okay, so you work for the agency called Overclock. All of you are either just finishing up a previous assignment, perhaps in a foreign city somewhere in Europe. Perhaps you are just leading your regular double life. Perhaps you are at the doctor's surgery. Perhaps you are on your break at the school that you teach at. Perhaps you're playing around with the engine of a car in your garage. All of you receive a text message. And the text message points you to a pickup location, to an Amazon locker, where you are instructed to pick up your next mission briefing. It comes in the form of a small USB drive, which when you get back to your home or to your office, wherever is most appropriate, you plug into your computer and click on the only file in it that's there's no real file name. It's just a series of numbers, which is perfectly normal. You recognize this as a mission briefing from Overclock. You double click the file, and as your computer brings up the video message, there is no face on screen. There is just an almost static-like recording, and the voice of a woman, the voice that you recognize to be Monarch. Last Friday, the German government finally agreed with the Supreme Council of Antiquities in Egypt to return the bust of Nefertiti that had been discovered in 1912 by a German archaeological team and kept at various locations in Germany since its discovery. Most recently on display at the Neues Museum in Berlin. This priceless artifact was due to be handed over to a member of the Supreme Council of Antiquities yesterday morning. However, it has been stolen before the handover could be made. This has caused huge upset for both governments. It could soon turn into a diplomatic incident. You have been contracted through us to recover the bust of Nefertiti. Currently, we have got no leads on who has taken the bust or why, but we will be sending you to Berlin to investigate what's happened. Track down the bust before it disappears onto the black market. Plane tickets have already been organised, as well as your hotel stay, and you will meet with your fellow agents there. The message comes up with a almost like a superscript of the actual recording. And you know that you maybe have a few seconds to scan the rest of this message before the USB drive itself. There's a small flash, and you can see that it's burnt out. An error comes up on the screen saying that the file has been corrupted and damaged, and it closes. You are all being sent to Berlin. Less than 24 hours later, you arrive at the airport. You get into a cab, and you make your way to the hotel. Who was first to arrive?
I think actually probably Genly. Since he's not allowed to compete anymore, he doesn't really do much except work out and like run and stuff. So when he got the mission, he would have been very, very eager, and would have probably got the next flight.
Okay, so you're the first to arrive. You look around for the rest of your team, having worked together almost exclusively now for probably the last 6 to 8 months. None of them appear to have arrived yet. After about half an hour, though, who arrives next?
I think the Formula One is actually currently in the Netherlands, so I would have been about 3 hours away by train. So I'd be there pretty fast, I think.
Okay, so you're the next to arrive. You arrive, you go into the, you check in, your bags are taken to your room, and you enter the hotel bar. And sitting at one of the tables, you recognize Genly.
Yeah, I'll order my drink and join them.
Okay.
Genly?
Over.
Hello, Legs. Was your flight pleasant?
It was a train, and it was awful, thank you. How was yours?
Wonderful.
Should fly next time.
Who's the next?
Healthy. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Who is the next to arrive in the hotel bar?
I probably would show up by then.
Okay, and how did you travel? Did you come by plane?
Definitely plane, yeah, just to make it fast and efficient.
Okay, so you also head into the hotel bar, and you can see Genly and the Legs both sat at a table.
Hey, it's fancy meeting you here. Didn't expect you two to be the first to arrive, but how have you been?
Pretty good. I was nearby.
You know, living job to job, it's good. Life is good.
Good. Glad to see you're both in good health.
You? Been keeping busy?
Very. I don't think I have much time off these days, but it's good. These are good.
All right.
Who arrives next? Or who's the last to arrive?
I would be the last to arrive.
I would probably be around for a bit already, but checking out a bit everything around before I join the others.
Okay, so you've been in the area, you've just been scoping it out before you go into the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, you have seen the others arrive, because you all come through the main entrance, just normal tourists, a group of friends. You haven't spotted the good doctor yet, but you make your way inside and head to the hotel bar, and you see your friends and colleagues sat there around the table having a drink.
I will just nonchalantly get a drink from the bar, probably whiskey, and just drop in a seat next to wherever one seat is free, and just work again.
Lynx, you have joined us. Perhaps this is more of a stealth mission.
We will see. At the moment, it's more like a tracking mission.
I think they're just covering their bases. They have no idea what's going on. While we're in this bar, I mean, I would never have checked my laptop. Can I at least be on my laptop?
Oh, yeah, you can have your laptop out. There is Wi-Fi here. You can easily connect to it.
Great.
And Dr. Merkiel, I hope I've said that right.
Mercical.
Mercical. You are the last to arrive. Why are you the last to arrive? Was there a delay or?
No, he has an arrangement with what do we call it? The overclock. That he takes commercial flights to make it appear as if he is actually going on to conference.
Okay.
So it's pre-booked, but it's still a commercial flight, so he still has to deal with going through the commercial airport.
Okay, so you've been through that ordeal of a commercial airline, probably flying business class at best, and you finally make it to the hotel. You check in at the reception. You have your bags taken up to your room, and as you make your way to the hotel bar to get yourself something to drink after that ordeal, you spot the rest of your colleagues sat around a table.
Yes, legs, wings, links. Ganley.
Mercical.
Doctor?
Yes,
Good to see you again.
I'm guessing y'all had pleasant travels, compared to me at least.
Bunch of hours on a train.
Streets were a bit crowded, but well.
Yeah.
I'm
never
glad
understand.
they picked you, Mercical.
Well, I'm sure you are, Ganley.
Sure you'll keep him busy, Genly.
Legs, at this point, as you're sitting, you've just connected up to the Wi-Fi and you're tapping away on your laptop. You have an email come through. There is, oddly, no from email listed. It's just blank. And as you double click it, all it does is it lists the address of the Newers Museum, which is not too far from where you are. There are some photographs of the inside of the area, which you guess is where the bust of Nefertiti was once kept. You can see that there is broken glass on the floor. It looks like these might be police photographs. There are also some pictures. They're grainy. They look like very bad CCTV images that have been blown up to a reasonable size of two men who are standing inside what looks to be the atrium of the museum. The message at the bottom of the email reads, "This is all we have to go on. Find out how they took it and who they are." Signed, Monarch.
Well, after being a little bit insulted, they didn't trust me to hack into the police records myself. But you know, I suppose speed is of the essence. I'll share these around the group. Please don't touch the actual laptop screen. Look only. Pass the laptop around to the rest so they know what grainy people we're looking for.
It's gonna be one of those again, isn't it?
The happiness.
You very much get the feel that Overclock have sent you out here not just to recover the bus, but they have got no idea who's taken it or why or how anyone managed to get it. You do know from other bits of information that you've had fed to you during your various travels that there was a heavy security placed at the museum the night before the exchange. It was only in the morning that they discovered the bust had been stolen. Alarms were tripped and triggered, but when they were checked, the bust was still there. So it wasn't until the morning that they discovered it was actually gone. It's now up to you to do whatever research, reconnaissance, and investigation you'd like in order to track down the bust and the people that took it.
You say that alarms, etc., were triggered. Are those silent alarms? Are they only in the museum? I need to find out. I would like to find out more about the alarm systems.
From here, there's not much that you can check out. You would
Means I
probably
probably have to go to the museum.
have to go to the museum and somehow get a look at their alarm system.
Yeah. Anyone want to accompany me to a museum? Maybe get me access?
I could potentially be the one to get you access, especially if this is in regards to something that was stolen there. I can find my way in for us.
Great.
Wings, while you're there, see if you could convince them to have the security detail come for a checkup with me. We can see if there's anything within their system, possibly. Hopefully it hasn't left by now. Maybe traces of it. If there was anything wrong with them, either they were hallucinating or in a daze of some sort. You know.
Yeah, we'll definitely send them your way. I think that's the smartest thing to go for in terms of the people that were affected. See what's left, if anything.
Specifically the ones who checked up on the bust and apparently still saw it there.
Perfect.
So your plan is to head down to the museum? So who is going down to the museum? Is anyone going anywhere else?
Maybe better as backup for this mission. We gained someone else?
We have two Lynxes.
Yes.
My Zoom crashed on me. I don't know why, but it froze. I heard you guys, but I had to.
There we go. Let's fix this up. I'll correct the things. No worries.
I'm seeing double.
Okay, so who is heading down to the museum? Got the
Me.
legs, wings, Lynx.
All girl party.
Okay. So you have to wait till the next morning because you've arrived quite late in the afternoon and evening now. But you head out first thing towards the museum. I'm assuming that you're not bringing all of your equipment with you.
No, but I'm trying to hook most of it up to my augmented reality glasses.
You can absolutely do that.
I really do.
You can hook up kind of all of the major stuff that you need,
Yeah.
so that you can view that as you go around. It also has a camera in, and a microphone as well, so you can record video and audio.
Excellent. I'll leave the weapon suppressor behind. That seems maybe a little early right now to start carrying around really big guns.
Yeah, and there will be bag checks at the museum, like there are at most kind of large major establishments.
Yeah. And it doesn't actually say on my sheet, but is my tailored undercover vest, is that going to set off like metal detectors?
I'm going to say no.
Then I will be wearing this forever. Basically.
Okay. You make your way to the museum. You make your way through. There is a bag check as you go in. Is anyone carrying anything that they shouldn't be? Is anyone carrying weapons? Knives, pistols?
I definitely have a katana, but I'll be going through like customs and declaring it like an ornamental weapon that I'm here to display at the museum, which is something that Genli would have perhaps tried to do before. He has no credentials. He might be looking to the face to back him up. He might be going through with the face even if the face would be willing to come and save his ass.
Are you trying to convince them you're displaying it, or perhaps maybe you're here to show it to somebody to get it evaluated?
Yeah, maybe.
I would have helped him definitely, because if we're entering Berlin, I do speak German. So I'd probably flash my French embassy papers and say that I'm escorting this person to the museum.
Okay.
If you want to retcon that, I definitely would have tried to help him do that.
Well, it
And
looks
to
like
help with the whole thing as well, I'll only be speaking Japanese and pretending that I can't speak English, just to help with the whole aesthetic.
Okay, in which case, we're going to make the first roll of the game. So, Lynx, you make it through okay. It's a quick bag check. Regular tourist, you're let through. The legs, you also go through, no problems. They do the quick open. Don't see anything suspicious or out of the ordinary. You're also let through. Doctor, are you with them as well?
Yeah, I mean, I believe most of his stuff would be able to pass most customs. I think anything specialty he requested would probably be waiting for him. He'd have to find a way to get to the location point or go through some contacts to get it.
Anything like that can probably be sent to the hotel for you by the agency. But you're not carrying anything that would alert a bag check at a museum currently, are you?
No.
Okay, so you're also let through fine. They have a look through your bag. They don't spot anything. Genli, as you try to enter the museum, I imagine you've got your katana stored in a bag or a carrying case of some sort. They stop you. They search through the kind of small rucksack that you have, and there's no issue there. When it comes to the bag that your blade is in, they open it up, and the security looks at you. Says, "You can't bring this in here," in a very thick, heavy German accent.
Sumimasen.
In German, I'll kind of like step in front of him and be like, I am so sorry. I'm here to escort him to the museum. He's going to get this katana looked at and appraised by somebody here. We have some paperwork, and I'll just like flash my embassy badge really quickly and put it away.
Okay.
Just be like, we're just here to get this appraised and then leave. It really should not be more of an issue besides that.
You can see the security guard. He kind of takes the moment as you flash your embassy paperwork. And it's clear that, his job is to check the bags. He's probably not massively thorough in terms of wanting to know names and dates and peoples and places. But I do want you to roll a deception check for me, please, because you've got to convince him just enough to let you through. And I will give you advantage on this because you've got Genli kind of playing that he has no idea what's going on, and you have got embassy papers.
Okay, so...
Thank you so much to Black Cats Gaming for the 200 biddies for an advantage.
Let me do that with advantage.
With Michael Wayne's 100 bits from earlier on, you will have an advantage there on this roll.
Okay, so that 13, and then plus deception. Oh my goodness. Plus 5, so 18.
18. Okay, yeah. You spend a good 5 minutes kind of showing him embassy papers, and you start talking about the historical importance of the katana. You guys have probably done a little bit of research the night before, so you start listing off a few names of some of the consultant specialists here at the museum, and this security guard goes from kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, to a look of sheer boredom and kind of wanting to check the rest of the bags. He briefly checks yours, Wings, and sees nothing of particular interest and kind of waves you through and directs you. He points at you. It's up a staircase, and you imagine he's basically trying to tell you where those offices would be. And you guys make your way into the main atrium of this museum. The katana still sheathed within, still hidden away within this kind of carrying case that you have for it.
Solontedo.
Now you are here. What would you like to do?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Would syringes be something that they would, considering that I'm a doctor, or is that kind of
possibly?
It
depends. They
sterilized
empty?
Packaging. Yeah.
There'd probably be a few questions about it. Can you think of a reasonable reason that you could give the security guards as to why you would have these syringes? Is it just syringes, or have you got actual needles and medication as well?
Say you're diabetic.
There's actual medication, right? Everything would still be in their sealed, sterilized packaging. So it's like no loose syringes or anything, but...
Okay. If you're carrying kind of things like insulin or like general medications that you would have to inject yourself with, you can probably bluff your way through along with showing a medical license.
Right.
There's a few odd looks, but you probably wouldn't be questioned too heavily.
Okay.
But yes, you do make your way through into the atrium. You can see that there's quite a few people here, mostly tourists. You spot a couple that might be academics, possibly, that are kind of taking notes. You get the odd occasional, what you imagine is an art student who has sat down to sketch something somewhere. There is a heavy security presence here, though.
A bit late. If we did any planning ahead last night, since you said we had some time, would it have been possible for me to get blueprints or at least floor plans of this building? The city code has to have it somewhere.
Make me an infotech test.
I have this somewhere. There it is. Oh wow, that is terrible.
That's infotech plus your intelligence.
Yes, both are 0.
Okay.
The joy of pre-gens. A 3! I know nothing.
A 3. You don't manage to find blueprints from the city planning. You haven't had the time to go down and apply or attempt to get into their systems. You did find one online, though, that is the kind of the free maps that the museum puts out that shows you kind of where the rooms are, how everything's separated off, which you've been able to study and upload into your glasses. So you do know that right now you are kind of in the main atrium, and this is where everything kind of spreads off of. Where they kept the bust of Nefertiti is a little bit further along, directly along the hall in front of you. It had its own area for display.
I'd like to start heading that way at least, and I'm setting my glasses not only to record, but also to see if they can catch like the infrared light you get from sensors and alarms.
Okay.
That would be present here. See if I can map out their security system a little.
Okay, so you start making your way through, and it's fairly easy to spot the CCTV cameras. Along some of the exhibits are up on the wall, like art galleries. They've got that thin wire that if you kind of knock it, it triggers a small alarm to say that somebody's kind of stepped over where they should be. In terms of spotting infrared with the glasses, make me a perception test, please.
I see nothing again. This is going real good for me.
Yeah, you start to make your way through, and you don't see anything in the rooms, the kind of halls that you're passing through. It could be that there's nothing here that is high value enough to the museum to need it. It could be that if they do have it, it's been disabled in the recent stealing of the bust. It could just be that your glasses aren't picking it up right now.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily tuned to search that out. It's just something that you have to kind of watch for as you're going. But you don't see anything here. But you start making your way towards the area that the bust of Nefertiti was kept in. How about everyone else? What's everyone else doing while they're here?
Lynx would be having a look around just to get a feel of how security is camera-wise and what you can see to have an idea on how they pulled it off.
Okay. So you're looking specifically like where is there not security? Where could they have come in from?
Where the dark spots where the cameras are maybe not really looking closely, and how did they manage to make their way to the bust and out again?
Okay, so you start from the main atrium with the idea of, if we were just walking in and walking out with it, what would that look like?
Yeah.
I would like you to make me an infiltration check, please. As you begin to kind of use your knowledge of how you would do this, how you would get in and out to figure out what's going on and how they might have got in.
13.
13, okay. You have a look round. This main hall, except the atrium itself and leading through, is fairly well covered by cameras. There is a heavier security presence here than you would assume that there would be on a regular day-to-day basis. Not unusual after a theft has occurred at a museum or a gallery. From here, it's not... They definitely couldn't have come in through this way. It's too well covered, it's too obvious, and the space is too open. So it's not even like they could, there's a lot of cover from the security cameras. So they probably have come in through one of the other halls that entrances onto where the bust is kept.
Okay, then I would probably just whisper to Wings. We are all together now again, right?
If you're all following the legs, who's making her way towards where the bust was kept.
Yeah.
Then I would just whisper to, Wings or to Lex. Lex is busy, probably to Wings, that I will just circle around and join you back in the middle. And she would just try to walk around and see all the other ways that lead to the bust and see what is there.
Yeah, so you can grab a museum map as you go through. There's probably some lying around, and you can see there are a couple of other rooms that come onto the hall that's just before where the bust is kept. And as you're looking at this, there's definitely ways in here that people could have come in through. The corridors are a bit more narrow before they open up into larger rooms that have got far bigger collections in. But as you make your way towards where the bust would have been kept, you can see, even from this distance, you come through a hall that's kind of got some large tables along the side and into a room that you would imagine would be darkened. There's probably some leaflets of within the map that show you kind of the key features of the museum. It would have been a kind of darkened room where the bust sat on display so that you could see it clearly, properly illuminated. This whole section has been sealed off. They have put tape across the entranceway. There is a security guard stood right by the entrance to this area. And it looks like that they have put some kind of cloth or covering up to cover the actual doorway so you can't see in to this room.
Is there when walking towards the bus, could I have noticed if there's a certain area where the guards seem to congregate a little bit more than just patrolling, you know?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
Okay, both of you just make me a simple perception test.
I'm more looking for where guards are positioned, if there's more than one guard in any area, how their demeanor kind of looks, if one kind of looks, I don't know, if one looks off, like they're staring at us a little bit too much. I'm more paying attention to the people.
Okay.
And for me, it's like museums tend to be clean, but I want to see if I could notice if there's anything that it seems unusually dirty around where the guards tend to congregate. You know, if there's like possible like substance or something that seems a little off.
Actually, then Wings, if you're looking interested more in the people, if you roll me an insight test instead, then if you're specifically looking at the people and what they're doing and what they're interested in. This is a 19 for you, Doctor. You have a look round. The floor is as spotless as you would expect it to be in a museum. It gets cleaned every night. There's a lot of foot traffic. You do notice it's closer to where you can see this large curtain that covers it and the tape across the front. It looks like there is some kind of staining on the floor, but it's mostly covered by the curtain. It's right by where that security guard is standing. From this distance, it could be a trick of the light, but you're pretty sure there's something there. which might explain why the curtain has been placed in front of this area as opposed to just leaving it open and closed off.
Okay.
Wings, you've rolled a 13. So, yeah, you have a look round, and the guards don't appear to be massively suspicious of you. You don't get that feeling. They are kind of looking at everybody in this room. A large group isn't unusual. There are tour groups that pass in and out, groups of tourists who look like friends that are, you know, going through the museum together. So you're definitely not out of place as a group.
I'd like to think that Genli is sort of providing a distraction without doing anything distracting. Walking in with a sword, being a big, muscly Japanese guy. I'd like to think that people are just naturally kind of looking at him. So
yeah, if anything, you are definitely attracting the most attention out of the group.
Yeah,
but
I would 100% separate myself off a little bit because I know I have no business doing infiltration or technical stuff or anything like that. So I'll be like separating myself off, going up to guards and, you know, just playing up to the touristy thing, you know, like, oh, gozaimasu, Dr. Soperenno, Doko desu ka? And like, you know, just being like typical, what I think a Westerner would expect a Japanese tourist to look like.
Okay, so you start doing this and you chat to a couple of the guards and they seem friendly enough. They don't necessarily always understand what you've said to them.
Deliberate, yep.
You see at least one of them reaches for a radio while looking at you and listens for something. Kind of nods to himself and goes back to kind of having a bit of a wander. For the most part, most of the guards here seem to be wandering through. There's only kind of two here. The one stood by the door and by the door to the bust room and the entranceway to this part of the hall. They're the only ones that appear to be permanently here. Occasionally one will come through and start chatting to the other. None of them seem to be suspicious of you. They are quite protective about the bust room, though. Anyone who gets a bit too close to that tape and that curtain is either moved away, or you can see one of the guard who stood by it kind of begin to step forward as if making his way to talk to somebody before they kind of walk off, realizing that perhaps this isn't somewhere they need to be.
Does anyone leave the shut-off room, or is it like, it seems like no one is in there, or at least no one is coming out of there or going in there?
In the maybe 5-10 minutes that you've kind of been wandering around this room, feigning interest in exhibits, you haven't seen anybody come out of there. You haven't seen anyone go in. The tape across the front is essentially police tape, blocking you from entering.
Just for curious measures, if I would be able to get close enough, would I be able to just slide under the tape?
You could do, but you'd have to move the cloth. The tape isn't really a barrier so much as it is some kind of official looking stuff that has been left there so that people don't try and peer behind the curtain.
I'd like to try and cause a distraction to help. Carry on.
Okay.
That would be the next. Lynx would just grab probably Wings because she can talk, and Genli because she already sees, hey, he's attracting some things, like maybe keep the guards busy.
Yeah, I want to ask one of the guards to take my picture with the other guards. With my phone, like gesturing, Pictoro! Pictoro, come on!
Which guard are you approaching? Which guard do you want a picture with? There's two permanent guards. One right by the entrance room to the bust, who's obviously keeping an eye on making sure no one crosses that tape and cloth barrier. You've got the one that's stationed permanently to the entrance of this room, and every now and then you'll get a couple that walk in and out that are obviously kind of patrolling around the museum.
I'd like to go to the one near the doorway going in. Sorry,
okay.
Wait.
No, I was going to say, with my role in kind of observing the guards, do I have a rough frame of reference for how long it will take them to kind of walk in and out? Like, is it kind of frantic, or is it more like every couple minutes?
Maybe every 5 minutes or so, one of them will wander in. You imagine that they've probably been assigned to a couple of rooms, and they just kind of check everything's okay in them and wander back through.
Okay, so for about, you said like a 5-minute window, there's like a leniency where there's no guards who are walking.
Yeah, it's just for, every 5 minutes or so, another one will kind of come in and pass through. It's not always the same people, so you wonder if there's kind of a rotation happening or if people are coming on and off shift. But the only 2 permanent guards are the ones stationed by the entrance to the bus room and the entrance to this hall.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
pick out the one near the entrance to the bus hall, but I'd want to get
Okay.
a picture with him. So like, I want to be standing next to him with my arm around him.
And I'll go over and kind of I want to talk to the guard that he's trying to get a picture with, and I want to explain how he's the son of a wealthy Japanese man who's very important, and it's very important that he has an experience here in Berlin, and just how this picture would mean a lot to him, and try to like just be like, oh, but it won't take long, it'll be okay, I promise. And then while I'm trying to do that, I want to just flash, like, if Genli is either to my side or behind me, just like 5, like this, to try and tell him we'll have 5 minutes to do this, and also to Lynx to try and be like, we have 5 minutes, like once the distraction has started.
Okay, you can absolutely do the hand signals. You've all
Okay.
worked together before, so you all know exactly what that means as soon as you see it, and you pass it off as you talk to
Yes.
this guard. So you're trying to convince him that you need
Take
to
a picture.
experience. Okay, and I guess you're trying to turn his view away from the entrance to the bus room.
Yes.
Okay, I need you to make me. So it's going to be a persuasion test. Because you're not really deceiving him. You are getting a picture. And I'm gonna give you advantage on this because you have got Genli there, who I imagine you're putting your arm around him and trying to like
steering him away from the room, and like just babbling broken English / Japanese at him.
He's a little
Did you
bit.
say deception? Sorry.
This will be persuasion.
Persuasion. Okay.
He's a little bit bothered. You can see as he's trying to smile and be friendly, but he also keeps looking back at the room. Lynx, are you getting yourself into position to slip behind this curtain then?
Yep.
Okay.
I already gave Lynx a few hand signals because I need her to do something for me as well.
Okay. What do you need Lynx to do for you?
I would like to grab, if I can see, like the guards having a key card or stuff like that. Anything that looks like maybe we can use that later.
Okay.
One guard still right in front of the tape and the curtain.
There is. He's currently kind of in mid-conversation with Wings, with Genli trying to put his arm around him as he keeps looking back over at the curtain every few seconds to make sure no one's there. Was that a natural one that you've rolled? Wings, did you?
There was also a 15.
It was-
It
became a 20.
advantage. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's good.
Yeah.
So for a second, he's like, I can't. I've got to look after the room. And I imagine that you kind of show some embassy papers again, and you bring up the very wealthy businessman. It'd be a great investment for the museum. And you can see him. He's like, oh, just a quick one then. And he kind of puts his arm around Genli, pulls a bit of a fake smile, and you start taking a couple of pictures. Lynx, this gives you your opportunity. What is it that you need to do for?
So first, I would like to grab just a key card in the hope he has one. If I can see it, I would like to just grab and unclip with just like, hey, he's busy and he doesn't seem, and then slide under the curtain.
Okay, he does have, there's like a key card on one of those little kind of pulley reel things.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's probably like a tap card of some kind or a swipe card.
Yep.
This is going to be sleight of hand for you to try and take it.
Not...
He could notice if you try this.
I will still try it because that's my job. Let's
See what we pay you to do.
please roll 20. We are not rolling Cthulhu. We don't know much.
I had some amazing tool rolls.
That is a good roll. Wow.
Yeah.
22. Yeah, you walk past, coming past Wings and Genli, who are still taking photos with this security guard. And as you walk past, like an expert, you turn your hand out and you just unclip the key card just as he kind of leans in to kind of keep up with Genli's fantastic posing. And it's not even that you pull it, it's that you just kind of hold on to it, and as he moves, it unclips itself.
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking that with you, or are you dropping it off to the legs as you go past?
I would, legs will be not too far away, so I will just drop it, not that it makes sound, just to the floor, kick it over to her, and then try to disappear.
Easy enough to do. You hold it in front of you, you kind of let go, it slips down the side of your trousers, kind of cushioning the blow as it hits your shoe, as you just kind of nudge it in the legs' description, and you get a key card slide across the floor to you at your feet.
That is the signal I gave her, so I'll just sort of shift my weight while I'm looking at something and just put my foot on it.
Put your foot on it.
Hide it from view for a bit until I have a second to...
You can probably kind of do that, and then after a minute, put your bag on the floor, look through, looking for that bottle of water, and just pick it up and slip it in.
Well, I don't want to take it out of the museum. I want to see if I can, depending on what kind of card of it is, if I can read it so I can clone it.
You can probably do that. You'd have to probably find somewhere to sit down. I imagine you've got your laptop with you. There is a cafeteria here, so if you want to go and do that, you can.
I'll just wander off to the cafeteria. Most people, like the rest of the group, have seen me pull this trick.
So you pick that up, you call out that you're going to go and get something to eat, and you make your way to the cafeteria. Doctor, what are you doing at the moment?
He is, knowing that Lynx is going into the curtain, he's preparing for when she comes out. He's going to essentially cause a second distraction, accidentally dropping his stuff in front of the curtain so that he has to bend down and grab it up and swap what's on the floor.
Okay. So that kind of distraction from the curtain moving or anything being disturbed isn't noticed. So Lynx, with that roll of 22, I'm not going to get you to roll to try and slip in behind the curtain. You drop the key card, you kind of wander, you check the corridor up ahead, and the guard is actually currently talking to another museum goer, and you very deftly just kind of slip under the police tape and behind the curtain, barely seeing it ripple. Wings, you see this over the security guard's shoulder as Lynx just slips behind the curtain, and you don't even get like the ruffle of the movement. It's so quick and so silent as you're taking pictures. In fact, you're pretty sure on one of them you've actually caught Lynx midway through the curtain.
I'll knowing that I probably got that shot for some reason, just be like, I'll just go and delete it real quick and then be like, oh, just a few more pictures. Can you move just a little bit? The lighting is really bad, and you keep moving, and I'll point to one of the random guards. You're so blurry, and I'm speaking German the entire time, so I'm trying to move them and just keep their gaze on me. I'm just trying to keep their attention on me for as long as possible.
Okay.
And hopefully can hear me as I'm being semi-loud.
You manage this, and Genli's still kind of posing, and eventually the guard lets you take a couple more pictures before he says, I'm really sorry, I have to get back to watching this, and hopefully you are satisfied. And he kind of pats you on the shoulders in that very kind of friendly, I'm kind of done now way. And kind of takes back his position, and you see he kind of looks. It's almost like he's checking around to make sure nobody's noticed he hasn't been paying attention to the curtain for the last, it's only been maybe a minute or two. It's not been that long, but it's that kind of painfully aware that you weren't doing what you should have been doing. So right now we have Lynx behind the curtain. The legs has gone off to the cafeteria. The doctor, I imagine you're kind of looking at the exhibits nearby, keeping close to where that curtain is.
I mean, I'm guessing I have a briefcase or a medical bag with me.
I imagine you have a briefcase.
Okay, so then I am unlatching my briefcase so that when I drop it, everything spills out.
Okay, so you undo the first latch, so it's easy enough in a moment to kind of flick the second one and cause that distraction. Genly and Wings, what are you both doing? Now that you know Lynx is behind the curtain.
So they pointed me in the direction towards some offices, right, to go and talk about this sword. I'm going to start walking towards the wrong stairs.
Okay.
Preferably to a restricted access area, somewhere that I'm not supposed to go. I'm not hiding. I'm doing this very deliberately, drawing, again.
You make your way kind of back out of this hall into the main atrium. And instead of going up the stairs, there's another set that descend down. As you know, some museums have basements and stuff like that. And it's clearly marked on the wall as you get to the stairs in front of you that this is, no admittance. It's got it in German. It's also got it in English and French beneath. No admittance, staff only, private museum property. And you start to just kind of casually walk and make your way down the stairs. Wings, what are you doing?
While he's doing that, I want to see if I can talk to one of the guards. It doesn't really matter. The one that seems to have lingered closest to me, I guess. And just start trying to converse with him. Just say, how is your job? Do you like it here? This is my first time being in this museum. Just trying to not necessarily distract him enough to not pay attention to his job, but just trying to keep his attention so that potentially when Genly attracts other people, I can be like, oh no, please help me get him under control. And maybe he'll be convinced to kind of wander with me. I'm hoping.
Are you trying to get any information from the guard about his job, about the museum, as you're chatting to him?
I'm trying, the basis of the information I want to get is, are there any guards that don't like their job, or is there anybody that doesn't seem to be doing their job well lately? Like trying to get on that rapport level with him.
Okay. You talk for a couple of minutes and he says, no, I like my job. It's harder when things like this happen, but for the most part, it's nice. People are nice, and the museum's very beautiful. So you get to see the exhibits and see the new ones when they come in. Some people here, they just come, they do their work, they go home again. I like the museum. I worked here because I like the exhibits. So you really should have a wander. It's beautiful.
Oh, it absolutely is. Just curious question, does stuff like this happen at the museum often? Is this the first that you've actually encountered of anybody stealing anything from here?
Oh, occasionally we have small things, children, when we have some of the more open exhibits, but I've worked here 10 years. I've never seen this happen before. I wasn't on when it did happen, but the security is very advanced in museums like this now. We have everything. It's very strange, but I'm sure we'll recover the bust. It's very recognizable.
Do you know who was on shift when this happened? I can't imagine that they'd be back at work too soon after a crazy situation like this, right?
Oh, I couldn't possibly comment, museum rules and such, but I'm sure I've been told that they are fine. No one was hurt. He kind of gives you a kind of nod and a reassuring smile, cautious that he's not saying too much.
I'll kind of flash him a smile and touch his shoulder and just be like, well, you and your brave coworkers must have felt at least a little bit shook up after this happened. I mean, there's got to be precautions in the way to help prevent sort of situations like this. You don't feel like it could have been an inside job, could you?
You see, he kind of clams up here. It's like I don't know. I wasn't here when it happened, but we have good security. Please don't worry, ma'am. You are safe in the museum. There is extra security on it. Everything should be fine.
Well, that's good to know at least. I like knowing the places that I am are safe and taken care of. Do you have somebody who's in charge of security by chance, just in case I see anything weird, or, I tend to stay a little hyper vigilant when places are vandalized shortly before I visit them.
We do have a head of security. He is busy at the moment, but you can report anything strange that you see to any one of the guards.
No, I will definitely keep an eye out, but just, do you have a security office, or even though he may be busy now, just in case, maybe if I want to just check in with them later, just to keep myself feeling better and safe?
Asking at the help, the information desk would be the best place.
I definitely appreciate that, and please keep on protecting the goods in this museum. It's very beautiful, and I wouldn't want anything else to get stolen.
He gives you a smile, and you can see he kind of looks around and says, "I think your friend has gone wandering."
Oh no, and I'll just kind of thank you and kind of wander off to try and find Kenley.
So while all of this has been happening, Lynx, you have slipped behind the curtain. You are met with a semi-darkened room. It's that kind of, if you have been in a museum where they keep very old artifacts, where the lighting has to be down quite low. The lighting in here is on. The floor itself, there is shattered glass all across the floor still. It hasn't been cleaned. It looks like the police have essentially left this as it has been, and they've concluded their investigations. You can see little bits where some of the glass has been moved, probably to allow forensics teams to come in and out. And in front of you, you can see this kind of large black marble. It's almost like a frame that fills the wall. And in the center, there is the plinth, where normally you would see the bust of Nefertiti lit up in this kind of dim lighting. It is empty. You can see the actual, there's no other exits to this room. It's just you kind of come in, you view it, you leave. You can see on the floor by the corner where the guard was standing, on this side of the floor there appears to be a dark stain. It looks like it has, whatever was there has been cleaned up, but it has left a stain on this floor. Other than that, you do spot there are 3 security cameras in this room. 2 of them look like they're kind of hanging limp. They're pointed down at the floor. They don't look like they've been broken, like they haven't been ripped out of the wall, but they're not pointing where you would expect them to be. The last one is pointing directly at the bust of Nefertiti, or where the bust would be had it not been stolen.
Okay, so I will try to stay out of the way of that one, just to be sure I'm not showing up on any cameras, although I'm not sure if they would look at it at the moment because nothing is there. I will take out my phone and just take pictures, because I would guess at least all of us have smartphones that take decent enough pictures that you can work with it. I would also pull out like Kleenex or tissue, just like out of the pocket what you have, and just still try on the blackened spot if I can get like any residue of it, just folding it up, pocketing it away.
Okay. You pull that. It's easy enough to have. You've kind of filled your bag with stuff that you'd imagine tourists would carry, and you kind of wipe along the edge of the stain until you picked up enough of it on this tissue, and you fold it up and tuck it back into the tissue packet and put that back in your pocket. Is there anything else you'd like to look at in here? You can get pictures of the CCTV cameras, of the shattered glass, of the stain itself. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
I would look around also to the ceiling or anything where I would maybe have an idea if the burglars came in via maybe other ways than just the way I basically moved into the room.
You have a look up at the ceiling. There is no skylight in this room in order to keep the room darkened. There are no other exits. So they would have had to come in the way that you did to reach the bust. Just make me just a perception test, please.
Okay, perception. 20.
20. Okay. Wow, you got all the high rolls today. You do have a look up in the ceiling. And while there is no skylight, you can see that closer to the edge of where the glass would have been, that would have covered the bust, there are small, what looks to be holes in the ceiling that are lined with a small metal rivet, and they're flush, but you can see the kind of row of holes that is along this section.
Take pictures of that as well.
You take pictures of those as well in the hopes that perhaps you can look at them later and figure out what they are. You can now hear outside the very loud conversation that Wings is having with the security guard about whether or not he likes his job, what it's been like at the museum since the theft. You can hear the distraction happening outside.
I would, at the moment, say that's probably all I can get here. I'll not trample around through the glass because it will get messy, and there's the camera still up. And I will just carefully try and peek and try to get an idea on when I would have the chance to slip out if the guard is distracted. If not, I will need to figure something else out, how to distract him.
I think based off what Wings did with her 5-minute communication, I would think everyone would know that I would try to be timing my distraction at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you haven't got a phone. You can text somebody if you'd like to go out, but you go to the other side of the curtain away from the security guard, and you can see where it's just kind of pulled back and it's not sitting flush. You can have a look as the security guard points kind of off behind Wings. Something about her friend has gone, and you see Wings kind of go, oh, and kind of disappear off. You don't see Genly here. You don't see the legs either, but you imagine that she's gone off with the key card. What you do see is the doctor kind of watching. If you were anyone else, you'd think that he was very intently interested in the exhibit closest to this curtain, but you know better than that. You recognize the body language of the waiting, and he looks over towards the curtain, and as you look over, Doctor, you can just make out links behind the curtain shooting through.
Right, so I guess once I notice links, I would see if there's any exhibits on the opposite side of the guard and the curtain.
There is. You can walk towards one that's on the other side of the room if you like.
Yeah. So I'd probably walk in that direction, and that's where I would try to drop my briefcase to spill everything, so everything is directed away from the curtain on the opposite end.
Okay. Could you just make me a sleight of hand test? This is just for unclipping that second clip, so that it looks like the briefcase is snapped open, as opposed to you having physically undone the clip.
Okay. 13.
13. Okay. You walk forward, and you actually, as you kind of turn the briefcase, and you catch it on the side of your trousers. It's just enough to flick the clip up as you've set it there. And as you do, the front of the briefcase spills open against your leg. Papers tumble. A few of the bottles that you've had that are, we'll say that, you've got them labeled things like insulin or other medication that would be reasonable for you to carry for yourself, that would be injectable, as that goes tumbling across the floor right in front of the curtain, just as you've got past the guard, kind of falling out the back of the briefcase, as the guard turns and it's like, oh sir, your briefcase, and starts trying to help you pick things up. And a few people in the room are now looking at you, and you're on the kind of the guards side where Wings was previously standing. Lynx, you hear a commotion outside, the sound of bottles hitting the floor, papers going everywhere. You figure this is your distraction.
I'll take a leap, try to roll out, just and then not move too much, and then slowly walk over and basically join the crowd.
Okay, make me a stealth check, please.
Oh boy, oh boy. I'll take it.
Roll20 really likes you today.
Probably
Never
not.
rolls
You
that
could
well for
really
me.
count so much.
So you slip out from behind the curtain, and everyone is distracted by the doctor, who's currently trying to get everything back in his briefcase. And there's a couple of smashed vials. And you kind of casually make your way over to the crowd that's watching and come through and start trying to help pick stuff up. And eventually, over the next couple of minutes, you manage to get everything back into the briefcase. The guard calls someone over to come and clean up the spilt medication and the broken glass. And you don't think anyone spotted you. If they have, no one's approached you yet.
Okay. I will help the doc to collect everything he has, and then basically see that we both leave as well, because we are the last ones close to the room.
Okay. Where are you going off to? Just another exhibit room, or just having a look round for a bit, kind of keep it cool, or?
I think Lynx would go towards the cafeteria or whatever, because she would know Lex would look for a place where we can just sit and be the typical, I have my notebook, I'm working. And,
okay.
That would be, I think, the easiest way to meet. And also sending a text to the others, like, let's meet up at where Lex is.
Okay. And do you follow this as well, Doctor, or do you?
I think the doctor would stay behind. He's just profusely apologizing. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
So you're giving Lynx a chance to leave, and
so and he's making up excuses. He has to document everything that's been broken and all that kind of stuff. And
and the security guard kind of helps, but he leans down into the puddle of stuff. The other one that's come over now from the entranceway to the door, and he's trying to read you out the labels on the smash bottles so that you can write it down. And they're like, "Please don't worry, sir. It's absolutely fine. This kind of thing happens." And they're trying to calm you down. They're trying to help. This guy's trying to help you out, basically. Lex, you found your way to the cafeteria with no idea what's just gone on in the atrium. You sit down. It's quite crowded in here. There's lots of people around, but you manage to find yourself a seat that's towards the back, so you've got the wall behind you. You are at a table with two other people, though. It appears to be a woman with a young, not too young, maybe kind of 9 or 10-year-old girl. They're both currently having a sandwich. They appear to be speaking German to each other. The little girl's got a pamphlet for the museum, and she's kind of flicking through, excitedly pointing stuff out as her mother tries to get her to eat lunch. And you've got your laptop open.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Well, I have a key card that I would like to see if it's chip or strip or anything I can pull from this card and clone onto a blank card. That's the most pressing matter right now.
Okay. You get the key card out and you've got it under the table because you don't want to necessarily pull it right out. You detach the little pulley clip thing that's got the museum logo on it and kind of put that in your pocket. And then you can bring the card above the table, and it's obscured from view by your laptop screen. You turn it over in your hands, and it appears to be a blank white card. So you don't know if these are generic or if they're key to. But there's no magnetic strip, so it's not a swipe card. It's most likely a tap. which means it works on some kind of contactless technology or RFID chip, if I got that right. Someone will correct me if not. Which means you can scan it, and you can attempt to clone it.
I would like to do that.
Okay. Bear with me 1 second, because I think I have to get the hacking rules up for this. So hacking is pretty fun in this game, and pretty much all characters can attempt to hack things. Hackers themselves, like the actual hacker character class, gets more options, but you can do basic stuff. So let me just grab that up. I've got so many windows open, I'm so sorry.
I did just say in chat, I should have picked the hacker, but I was seduced by the submachine gun.
Yeah, the technician's a fun class as well. We will be getting you some gadgets as well. Once you know what's going on, you'll be able to requisition some from the agency.
Probably also start rolling over 4 so I don't accidentally break everything I touch.
I'm sorry, Roll20 does that to me as well, so...
But normally Roll20 is very kind to me. I don't know what I did wrong today.
Roll20 is a mercurial being.
I'll just burn some sage and hop around on my left foot or something.
Okay. So... maybe it's not a hacker action. It doesn't really fall under kind of the basic hacking. You have got your laptop with you, so what I'll say this is just going to be a straight kind of infotech roll for you to scan it. I imagine you've got like a small portable scanner that's been built into your laptop.
Nowadays, even cell phones can read those things. That's not even...
Pretty much, yeah. So what you can probably do is get something. You have an application on your smartphone that you can use to read it, and it sends it over to your computer so you can get some more information.
Great.
So if you just make an infotech roll for me.
I'm just go now. I was thinking if I want my advantage on this, or if I'm going to see if Roll20 is going to be nice to me and save it. I'll save it.
Okay.
I can always have just gently kick in a door if this doesn't work.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Okay, you bring up the application on your smartphone and you very casually tuck the card under the phone and just put it next to your laptop. And within a few minutes, there is a beep as the application flashes up with a notification on your laptop. And what information did you want from the card? Because with a natural 20, you're not just going to be able to clone it, you're going to be able to actually get some information from it.
Yeah. I want to know if it's personalized or general. I'd like to know if there's a log from the last few times it tapped into a place. And normally doors have like they're coded numbers.
Yeah.
I don't have the floor plans yet, but I will at some point, and I want to know which door was tapped when.
Okay, so it doesn't look like that this is a personal key card.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, if it is, it's not attached to a name. So it might be that it's signed for in and out on a day-to-day basis whenever the security guard comes in for their shift.
Yep.
And whether or not that's this card is his and it goes in a tray or it's got a number or something, you're not too sure. But for the most part, this card doesn't have a name attached to it. It might do somewhere later down the line in some paperwork or on a computer.
In that case, I'll just want the card number.
Yeah, so you can
card
see
ID.
The card ID. Yeah, you can absolutely get the card ID number. You can see the list of doors that it's tapped recently. You can't see which doors from here. You imagine that would be part of the security system for the actual museum that you'd have to try and get into.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it has been used a few times in the last few hours. But it's easy enough to clone. It's a fairly simple chip.
Yeah.
And you have the card ID.
I'll clone it.
Okay. Do you have a blank card to clone it to? Or did you are you going to try and clone it to a smartphone and do it that way?
I was gonna clone it to the smartphone. It has like the little RFC chip. It also lets you do tap payments and tap bus passes, and I just want to add it to the RFC chip on my phone.
Okay.
I'm considerably less likely to lose my phone than I am to lose a random card.
Okay, I'm going to say that this will kind of be a hacking thing that you're doing here because you're installing it onto the phone. So let's use. I'm going to say this is an install.
Confession to everyone in chat: I did not read the rules, and I will patiently wait until I'm told what I'm doing.
That's okay. So everyone gets some basic hacking actions, which is pretty much stuff that all of you can do. So that's like attempting to access a system by like breaking through its password, installing software onto a computer or a device to get it to do what you want. So whether that's, putting a disk in and installing a virus or trying to upload something. You also have delete, which means that, you know how to try and delete systems, delete software. These are fairly easy things to do if you can get into a computer. The actual hacker has got a bunch of other stuff, which is like attacking systems, encrypting and decrypting information, or like rewriting software, or straight up like disabling the software so it stops doing what it should. That's a more specific hacker thing that you have to have tools for. But what you're essentially trying to do is upload the information from this chip, install it into the phone, so the phone acts like the key card. So it says here, the base difficulty of this is 5, and it's modified by the complexity of the software that you're installing, the operating system, or any firewalls present. Now, this is your phone, so there are no firewalls present because you're happy to do this. I'm going to say the base DC for this, I'm going to make it, it's fairly low. I'm going to make it 10.
Do I add anything?
This will be... so you could use infotech here. Is probably what it's going to be. Unless you want to make a case for another attribute.
Well, I don't think mechanics really applies to software. Espionage? Would espionage work?
Do you know what? I'll say for you, yes, because this is part of what you do, kind of as a spy.
In that case, I finally get to add something more. Yeah, I'll roll espionage. Wow, I rolled another 3.
Okay, did you want to use your advantage? I'll let you. If you want to roll again.
Sure. It's not going to be any better. Oh, it is better. I'm shocked and surprised.
22.
22 in total.
Okay, so yeah, you managed to copy it over to the phone, and you test it out on your laptop, and it beeps up and it registers and it works. It's at this point that as you're doing this, as you're checking it, you get a text message from Lynx saying everyone to basically meet up with you. She thinks you're in the cafeteria.
It's pretty accurate.
And it's a few moments later that Lynx, you make your way into the cafeteria, and you spot the legs sitting over in the corner at a table with a mother and daughter who are just kind of finishing up their lunch now. She's tapping away on her laptop. We're going to jump over and see what Genly is doing. As you wander down the museum stairs, and they're fairly well lit. It's still a little bit darker down here. They haven't wanted to light this up too much to kind of keep people away from it. But you start making your way down, and no one seems to have noticed that you've come down here. And you find yourself in a hallway at the bottom that is well lit, and there are a few kind of older looking wooden doors that pepper the hallway, which takes a sharp left-hand turn at its end.
Are these doors marked at all?
They are. As you step up closer to them, one of them doesn't have anything on, but you judge by the size of the door that it's probably some kind of just storage cupboard. Might be a janitor's closet, something along those terms. You go further down, and it appears to be a room that the door is locked if you try it, but it's marked records. The one further down the end has got somebody's name on the door. It looks like it might be an office, but it looks old.
I would like to glance behind me to make sure that there's no one heading down these stairs.
You don't see anybody heading down the stairs.
Then, heck, in a second, before I make any hasty decisions, let's have a quick look at my character sheet. Okay, I don't have any, like, picking tools or anything like that. I'll head over to the office. And is there a window or anything like that?
It's one of those kind of old, if you think like film noir, like wooden doors with a kind of like textured glass.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like you can't read what the name would have been on there. It's something in German. The letters have peeled off. You try the door and it is locked.
And you say the corridor goes round to a sharp left?
Sharp left-hand turn at the end.
I'll go and have a look around that sharp left-hand turn.
You have a look around the corner, and it basically turns into a very long service corridor.
Anything interesting in the service corridor? Like if I have a quick glance around?
There looks to be a couple of kind of like trolleys. They look like they're probably for cleaning equipment. Nothing really much that you can see. You can see further down the end, it takes another right-hand turn. You imagine this is kind of not quite sub-basement level, but it's probably how cleaners and stuff get around the museum. It's probably where things are taken to and from to avoid walking through the museum floor, and probably used by staff to cross when needed.
Yeah. I mean, so Genly's thinking is, I am no good at infiltrating. I probably shouldn't be down here. You know, the distraction hasn't quite worked, but I could save this if I head back up and ask them to unlock the door downstairs. So he's going to start walking back around the corner and back up towards the atrium.
Okay, you walk back around the corner up towards the atrium. You know, I imagine that you've kind of taken your time going down the steps in the hopes that somebody noticed you. So as you're coming back up the steps, you feel your phone buzz in your pocket.
I will grab it.
You have a look at it, and it's a text message from Lynx saying to meet up with the legs in the cafeteria.
So I will start heading back up the stairs again. Is anyone looking my way?
That is what I was just about to roll for. Yeah, so as you come up the stairs, there's a security guard who's walking past us. Hey, you shouldn't be down there. What were you doing down there?
Doctoro, museum.
No, that's staff only. You can't go down there.
I pick up the sword and I like start unbuckling it. Like
Whoa, no, put that. He goes for a radio. Wings, just as you come round the corner, as you've kind of been going through the halls that you had to get back through, trying to find where Genly has gone because he didn't tell you. And he's midway through unsheathing his katana while the security guard is like warning people back on a radio.
No. I am so sorry, sir. I am so sorry. And I'll show him the paperwork and everything again. He's just trying to find the offices for the curator. We have an appointment because he's here to show his katana to see if there's any significance to the museum for it. I'm very sorry, and I'll just like pat Genly on the shoulder and like kind of like motion for him to put the katana back on his back and just like
buckling it back up. And the office is locked. So
as you put it back in, you can. There's a brief conversation in German, Wings, that you understand to be, no, it's fine. I've seen some paperwork. I think it's a misunderstanding. He says the offices are up the stairs. The office is downstairs. Upstairs. The ones downstairs there, they're old. We use them for storage. I don't think anyone's ever, nobody ever goes into those, but there's still signs on the door. So I can see how your friend might have been confused, but the officers are upstairs.
Thank you. He wandered off and I couldn't find him, and I hoped there would be no issue. So thank you for helping stop anything before it happened. He doesn't quite know German. That's why I'm here to help. But upstairs, we'll definitely be going upstairs.
He has to keep that in the bag. If there's a call out, if he gets it out again, it will be confiscated and we will have to phone the police.
Absolutely understandable. I will definitely let him know to, no matter what, keep it in the bag on his back. Once again, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to intrude or cause a disruption of any kind.
Upstairs.
And I'll turn him around and we'll start walking away.
Okay. Doctor, what are you doing now? You've been clearing up, getting the security to help you fill out what's been broken and what's been smashed, and kind of putting your briefcase back together, making that distraction last. What do you do once everything's been sorted?
I think at this point I'd be like, so I need to take a breather and just head over it. Is there anywhere I can get a drink? I need to calm down a bit. Is there a cafeteria or a bar by any chance?
We
have a bar.
We have a bar. The bar is upstairs on the next floor. There is a cafeteria. If you go down the second hall before you come in here, right down the end and turn right, you'll find the main cafeteria.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And then I'll probably join everyone else in the cafe.
Yeah, so as you're walking there, you get the text message from Lynx to say to meet everyone in the cafeteria. Wings, you also get this text message about the time that you start going up the stairs. It's kind of the first chance you've had to really read it. So are you and Genli continuing up the stairs you've been directed to? The security guard is watching. You're making your way up there while everyone else is meeting up with the legs.
So Genli would whisper to Wings, Wings, we need to go to the cafeteria.
Yeah, definitely. But let's see if we can get this guard to not stare at us first. I feel like he would have a lot of questions if we turn around and just left. Maybe there's another staircase on the backside or something.
I could pull the tourist again and gesture that I'm hungry.
You know what? Let's just do that. Let's just make it really obnoxiously observant. Yeah, let's just turn around and you can rub your stomach. It'll work. It'll be fine.
So I turn back round, putting on the full tourist again. He actually speaks very good English, but sumimasen, hungry,
and I'll just kind of look annoyed and put my arm around him, and we'll start transcending down the stairs. And if the guard is still looking at me, I'll just be like, and
he kind of looks at you with almost like a sympathetic, yeah, I feel you. I can see how this would be annoying, and just
Perfect.
says the cafeteria is down that way to the right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And we'll just go down.
Okay. You make your way down to the cafeteria, where you see the woman and her daughter have got up. So it's just Lynx and Legs sitting at the table by themselves. The doctor's just making his way over with something to drink as you two enter as well. And you can all sit at the cafeteria table.
Well, hello, everyone. Again, we didn't die, surprisingly.
I say that went fairly well, all things considered.
Did you
Nice
guys get anything?
I got a lot of pictures and some kind of black residue. I have no idea what happened there, but someone should analyze that when we get back.
I'll take that, thank you very much.
I'll hand it over to the doc. And I by now probably I already copied the pictures that I took over to Lang's notebook, I guess.
Yeah, so you can bring them up on your phone, and Legs, you can bring them up on the laptop for whoever's sitting next to you. So the first picture that you all see is a wide shot of the room. And you can see the shattered glass across the floor, the low lighting, but your camera is good enough that it compensates for that. You can see the plinth where the bust would have sat, which is empty. The lighting's still low and on. There is another shot of the floor where you can see a dark stain across the floor. You're not too sure what it is. You could bring the tissue out, but I'm assuming you want to keep that closed and not in sight or anything for now. But you can see this kind of dark patch on the floor. There's a few shots that show you 2 security cameras on the side walls that are currently pointing down at the floor. There is one on the back wall which points, you guess, in the direction where the bust would sit, and that's the only one that appears to be watching the bust, but the other 2 are looking directly down at the floor. You also spot another curious picture which appears to be a zoomed in picture of the ceiling just above and in front of where the glass would be, where you can see what looks to be these small, like, circular metal bits in the ceiling that kind of line the entire length.
Circular metal bits, as in, are more like tiny screws, or tiny cameras, or tiny projectors?
Make me a straight, let's see. So I'm just bringing your character sheet up. You're the technician.
Please just stop making me roll for things in general. Also, I have to admit, I didn't actually read most of the character sheets before I picked this one. I'm a little disappointed in my intelligence score.
You have a pretty good wisdom score, though.
True.
Make me an infiltration check.
Can I somehow assist? I'm not sure if that is too late. You roll.
You know what? I think I'm just gonna get on a train and I'm going to go home. I think that's best right now. I think home is a good place to be. I'm not sure where home is, but home sounds good.
Lex, are you helping her when you start talking about what this is?
Yeah, I will try to help, like looking together and trying to think about, did I see that somewhere? Because I also have a class feature that Thieves at Work, that I can kind of recognize work of other thieves, infiltrators, master criminals. So if this is like a known group, I might have run across them.
Okay, I will say then, Lex, that gives you an advantage on this. So you're using Lynx's expertise and your knowledge of technology to figure out what it is you're seeing in this picture.
I appreciate the pity advantage. If this is another one, I will find out where Roll20 keeps its servers and I will burn them to the ground.
You scared
It's so swingy!
You scared it off!
I did scare it! Remember that for next time.
Okay, as soon as you start talking about, you sure you've seen something like this before, you think it might have been in an art gallery at some point, after you were, after a mission where you were in an art gallery, perhaps when you shouldn't have been. And as soon as Lynx says this, Lex, you realize what these are. They are what look to be lasers set into the ceiling, so they're flush. And the small hole, which looks first like a drill hole into the metal circular bit, is actually where the emitter would lie, flush into the ceiling. So this would, the front of this, you imagine, probably not during the day, but certainly overnight, would have a laser grid in front of the glass, which would most likely trigger some kind of alarm should something interrupt it.
I guess we will share with the rest as soon as we have the idea.
Yep. I mean, the email did say that alarms, etc., were triggered, but every time they went to look, the bust was still there.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked about like projectors, because they either the bust was actually still there, or they just made it look like the bust was still there.
The report doesn't tell you if somebody physically went to check on it.
They just check the monitors?
Or whether or not they check the monitors.
That is just lazy.
Because you imagine that, Lynx, you probably know this from having been in that art gallery. There's not a lot of heavy security overnight in museums. They tend to have decent security measures and maybe 1 or 2 security guards based on the size of the location.
They probably did not check. They just looked at the cameras, saw everything is in place as it should be, the feed was fine, and they just decided, well...
That's just lazy work, and they probably deserve that bust being stolen.
Well, considering that there's only one camera that faces the bust, and that's the camera that they would look at, do you think somebody could have freezed the camera?
Yeah, it's easy enough to loop it. If you're in the system, it's easy enough to loop it, but why would you have 3 cameras and only point one of them at a bust?
Well, the question is if someone tampered with the other 2, because honestly, I doubt a museum would set it up like this, that you have just one camera basically looking at something that makes sense and the others just pointing down.
Then why not loop the other 2 as well? If you're already in the system.
Were the other 2 always working now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question. So actually we would somehow need access to the security feed, I would say. That would be really helpful, that we can figure out what the guards saw on camera, basically, because they would have been warned if 2 cameras aren't working anymore. So they must have gotten all the feeds properly.
Maybe their system's so old they're happy when one of the cameras is working.
I did try to get the location of the security office from one of the guards, and he said to try and talk to that help desk. Maybe it's behind the help desk or around there. Maybe we can try and get into the actual office to see if there was any tampering or any cameras that aren't working, or at least get you close enough legs so that you can get into the system, or either anybody try to get into the system.
Yeah, you talk us in, I can try.
I am not sure how relevant it will be, but downstairs I saw a records room and an office, both locked, near the maintenance hallway that leads all the way under the museum.
No, you
If we
said
can get into the office. Oh,
I was saying, you said there were things in the ceiling?
Yeah, those were that was the laser grid.
Oh, okay.
if there's an office down there, there might be a computer in there, and computers are good for information, so that might be a better option than trying to get into the security office.
Complete sidebar, if we're looking at the picture with the broken glass, does that look like it was just smashed? Tiny explosive? Did most of it shatter outward?
That's the weirdest bit, is that it has mostly shattered outwards.
That is weird.
You don't see any glass where the plinth would be, which is what you'd imagine if you hit it and it smashed that way.
I'd like to point this out to the rest, that the glass shatter pattern is wrong for, taking a crowbar and getting in there.
You still have that mysterious kind of dark patch.
Yeah,
on
but
the
I
floor
think
as well.
I think we said we want to wait with analyzing that until we're not in a cafeteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the doc might. I gave the sample to the doc, and I guess, doc, you need some kind of instruments to get the analysis done.
We're just sitting here casually drinking coffee, looking perfectly normal.
Yeah. So you, Doc, you're passed over a tissue packet, which Lynx has got a sample of the dark stain on one of the tissues for you, which you can tuck away in your briefcase.
Okay. Guess I'll have to wait till we get back till I can actually analyze this. But, in terms of outward glass, it tends to happen a lot with pressure of buildup. If this is anything, if it could cause that kind of pressure can be done through either chemical reaction or straight up through injected air, things like that. Heat, temperature, any of those are possible.
You will be able to analyze that probably back at the hotel where the rest of your equipment is, to have a look and see what this substance is or was. But at the moment, what are your plans now? So you now know there was a laser grid active, possibly active, when the bus was stolen. Possibly that's what triggered the alarms, but for whatever reason, the bus was still there when somebody checked. You know that 2 of the cameras are currently not working, but 1 potentially was or still is. What are your plans? What else are you looking for? Lynx, there is something about this that feels a little bit familiar, but you can't put your finger on it just yet.
Okay.
Legs, could you potentially pull up the surveillance photos that we were sent, those really fuzzy ones?
Yep, easy enough. That email didn't self-destruct.
I want to look to see, I know they're fuzzy and probably indistinguishable, but is there anything about the clothing that they're wearing that is significant? Is it extra baggy? Are they wearing hats? Does it look like any jackets or just t-shirts? Like, I'm trying to get a build of the clothing that they were in.
They are dressed in what looks to be some kind of work gear. It's not quite like yellow vest, if that makes sense, but they definitely look somewhat maintenance-like, maybe a little bit smarter.
So I can, because I've seen the guards, can I rule out it's not a security uniform?
It's not a security uniform, no.
Okay, but it is some form of maintenance or workly attire.
Yes. You get the impression from what they're wearing that perhaps they showed up, and they showed up with the intent of having a purpose for being here, aside from perhaps being responsible for the theft of the bust.
Okay.
One of them is carrying a file of some kind as well.
Okay. I'll kind of address the group and just be like, I had a feeling it was some sort of inside job, so I wanted to rule out the potential of any security guards or them being dressed as security guards, but this does look really peculiar. It's definitely some sort of maintenance uniform, and this guy seems to be holding a file. Do you think that could potentially be some sort of or maybe something that they were supposed to be doing here? I mean, if they're in maintenance gear, maybe a fake one, something forged.
So Genly's doing his best to speak under his breath so that people can't hear him speaking English, because oldest trick in the book, just wear a uniform, have a piece of paper, no one asks questions.
Not so much a piece of paper as it looks like an envelope of some kind. It's not just a you know, like the old manila folders that you get?
The highly suspicious ones?
The highly suspicious ones. It looks just like that because tropes.
Maybe one of us or me, if anybody wants to come with me, they're more than welcome, but maybe we can see if there was supposed to be any scheduled maintenance happening in the building last night. Maybe a company specific or something like that, we can maybe get in contact.
Well, if we can access their system somehow, we should be able to get some information, because they should log if companies come in and out, because the security guard need the information which companies are fine to come in at which time and which not.
Right. So how do we get access to that sort of information? Would we need the computer at the front desk, or could we get that from any computer?
I imagine once you're on the intro web, it should be easy enough. I may have a way to get into more protected rooms. As I gesture towards my upgraded cell phone, and I'll also at this point sort of slip the keycard back to Lynx to dispose of.
Yeah. You can dispose of it. You can probably keep hold of it for now if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. One thing to note is that in a lot of places, and all of you will probably know this, much as museums and galleries and stuff have got good computer systems fairly. A lot of the time, people coming in and out normally are signing in and out on paper. It might be logged on a computer somewhere, but there is normally some kind of paper trail as well. We haven't quite reached a point where that's all out the window. So it's possible that you can find some of this information without having to necessarily hack into somewhere. It may just be a case of finding the right room or the right clipboard.
I was just saying we should probably just find like a maintenance office or the back office or something pretty much next to the cleaning supply closet. I don't think they'd sign in at the information desk of the museum though.
You do know there is an office upstairs, which is where
Genli got sent away from.
Yeah, I think
got sent towards to sign in about his katana.
Maybe
Yes,
we
that
should
would-
go talk to a man about a katana. Or a woman, not to be,
Yes, I have an appointment.
Yes, while you do that, I should probably get started on this analysis. And Lynx, if you could send me the broken glass photos. I think based off of the way the glass shattered, it's quite possible it could eliminate some of the possibilities.
Sure.
So you going back to the hotel dock to start your analysis on all
Yes.
of this? Okay, so you make your way out. You book yourself a cab to get back to the hotel as soon as possible. You go up to your room and you begin to unpack the cases that were brought up for you. And you do begin to unpack what is almost a small laboratory setup. Generally, you've used this for making medicines kind of on the fly, but mostly you use it for analyzing things that you find. So what is it you want to have a look at first?
First, I would take a look at the what Lynx was able to swab up. See if I can tell if that is the end product of a reaction or if it's the actual chemical itself.
Okay. Make me I'd say this can either be medicine or it's probably going to be medicine. We'll use medicine for this, for the kind of chemicals and looking into stuff. So make me a medicine check.
Okay. Where'd my roll 20 go? That's a 9.
It's a 9. Okay. The DC for this isn't too high. So you wanted to find out if this is what caused something or if this is the end product.
Yes.
You would imagine this is an end product because you feel it, and it's not what you might have suspected at first, which might have been dried blood. It's not that. It's not carbon in the same way that if someone had started a fire, there would be carbon. It's almost metallic. Like the feel of it between your fingers is something kind of metallic and slightly almost rust-like about it.
Okay. Dark and rusty. So if that's all I can seem to get from that,
From that one, you'd probably have to do a little bit more.
if I could
work.
analyze the metal itself, if it's metallic, see if I could run magnet over it, so if I could pick out any actual metallic flakes that aren't rusty or anything like that.
Okay, you run a magnet over the top of it, and there is a small reaction in some of the flakes. I'm gonna have to double check something because my brain has gone blank as to whether the metal I'm thinking of is magnetic or not. No. The rest, there's a few that pick up, that almost makes you think they're perhaps something like iron or some other ferrous metal. But the rest of this kind of metallic powder isn't magnetic.
Okay. Well, that eliminates some possibility. Okay, so I guess I'll see if I could analyze it, compare it to properties of the non-magnetic-ish metals. See if I could figure what would be common in this area or for use of something like this.
Okay. Can you just make me a straight intelligence test?
I try that. Okay.
Just add your proficiency bonus to that test.
Oh, okay. My proficiency was.
It might have been rolled in, but I believe
I think it's just +1, right? Okay, 14.
14. Okay. You start going through and you swap it up with some other stuff. You do some searches within your research and notes that you have. There's definitely iron in this, and the rest of the substance appears to be aluminium oxide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So from there, I want to take a look at the glass pattern from the picture. See how far out is the broken glass, or is it blown out relatively close to the case?
It's blown out fairly close, but there's a little bit more spread than you'd expect.
Okay. All right. Then I think I need some time to think on this.
Okay, so you can spend some time having a look through, trying to figure out what this strange metal could be and why it was there, and how the glass was shattered. We're going to jump over to the crew back at the museum. So what was it that you wanted to do now? Did you want to make your way up to the offices you were directed to, or head downstairs to the offices, to the rooms in the office that Genli found?
I think downstairs they looked unguarded, right, Genli?
Yes, they seemed mostly unguarded. They only noticed when I came back up the stairs.
Then we should try that.
Well, maybe we should split up because they do know that Genli is kind of not snooping, but to get lost down there. So I have a feeling if they spot him again, we might cause some trouble. So maybe we should split up and we go upstairs to maybe talk to somebody about the katana, see what information we can get, and you two can try and break into that office.
Okay, we
Yoshi,
can do that.
Be wary. They said that the people do not go down there, which makes me think perhaps it is not the guards, but perhaps if the burglars could have used it in some way. It's just a hunch.
I'll have a look around. If someone got in that way, I will probably maybe find it. At least I can try. And Lex will be helpful if we need to get through things.
Okay, so who's going upstairs? Who's going downstairs? Raise your hand for upstairs. Okay, and so Lynx, you're going downstairs, and how about you, Lex? You're going upstairs.
Oh, no, I was raising my hand to go.
You're going downstairs. Okay.
Sorry, super confusing.
That's okay. So, Genli and Wings, you make your way upstairs. You spot the same security guard as you come back from the cafeteria. He's walking off, looking a lot more casual. Maybe his shift has just finished. But he kind of spots you and he gives you that, glad you found it. You know, that same slight, God, your day must be as bad as mine kind of smile, Wings, after your last encounter with him. And you make your way out back into that main atrium and up the stairs. And it's kind of one of those museum staircases that kind of goes up and then it kind of flattens for a bit. So it's almost like a balcony where you can stand and look out on the atrium before it goes up again. And it turns off to the right where the corridor gets a bit thinner. And you can see there's a couple of rooms here. One of them, the door is partially ajar and you can hear voices coming from it. The writing on the door says main office.
Main office. Looks like the place.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not, they'll point us in the right direction. Might as well just take the chance.
I'll knock twice on the door.
You knock twice, and as you do, the door opens a bit more because it's already ajar, and there is a gentleman sitting at. It's kind of like a high desk. Looks quite old. Perhaps it's not quite as useful as it could be, but it's probably been here a good many years, and it's probably an antique in its own right. And you see he kind of gets up off of what's probably a high stool or a high chair, and says, "Oh yes, can I help you? Do you have an appointment or?"
Hi, appointment or? And I adjusted to Wings to talk for me.
So we are here to see if my friend's katana has any historical significance or anything that may attribute the museum at all. Just trying to get some information about what kind of artifacts you keep here and sort of what you are looking for from donations.
So you don't already have an appointment?
No, more so just hoping to be at the right place at the right time.
I see. And you were looking to donate this katana?
Potentially, if there was any sort of overwhelming significance, it is very valued to my friend here. So more so looking to get it properly appraised.
I see. Normally you have to book for these kinds of things. The curators that we have are incredibly busy. I don't think
I was going to say, while this is going on, she'll take out the papers and just kind of put them on the desk and just be like, I really understand that you have a whole process. Unfortunately, my friend is here on a very short and tight scheduled vacation. His father wants him to travel, you see, and I'm here to help him do that. And it's more so we're just here, very short, business vacation like trip, and trying to get this done as quickly as possible, if potentially all right with you.
He picks up the papers and has a look through them and says, he's the son of a diplomat then? You work for the French embassy?
I do. His father's a good friend. Yeah, we go way back. I worked with his father for the embassy for a while before he got transferred back to his home country, and now he knew I knew German, and we were very close, so he's just asking me while I have some reprieve from diplomatic issues to help his son do some traveling. Like I said, I'm just trying to be as gracious to this man as possible. I do owe him a great deal for my position at the embassy.
Make me a deception test. As he's still looking at these papers and you can see he's still trying to join up in his mind how you work for the French embassy, but this gentleman is Japanese, and why you are in charge. You can see he can see all of the bits. He's just trying to join the dots. Let's have a look.
And I'll even put my ID
Wow.
to see that I am French, because I live in France. So I'll do whatever. I'll just add little cute pictures and little things to the desk to make it way more believable, and just smile.
He starts picking up all of these things, and it's when you actually hand your actual ID over that marks you as a diplomat, as a diplomatic aid, that he kind of looks at it. It's like, see, look, I can't promise anything, but I can see who is around. It probably won't be our specialist in Japanese historical artifacts, but I can find somebody who might be able to tell you whether or not it's worth maybe booking a future appointment.
Exactly. Just something to kind of give us an idea. We would really appreciate that.
Of course. He kind of gathers your papers up for you quite neatly and places them back in front of you. Says, if you just wait here, I will go and see if she is in her office, and if not, I'll make a phone call.
Awesome. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that.
He ushers you to some seats that are in here. There is a kind of, there's like a couple of, what look to be kind of fairly cheap-ish, like waiting room chairs that have been placed in here that are definitely newer than some of the other furniture. And he kind of leaves the room. He does leave the door ajar. He doesn't close it behind himself. But for the minute, you are alone in this room.
You said we could hear people talking, right? There's no one else here, though?
No, you get the feeling that perhaps what you were hearing was him kind of chatting to himself as he worked.
Okay, so just the one voice, right?
Yeah.
So I suppose as soon as he goes to the door, Genly will sort of fly out of his seat and go across the room reasonably quietly and just look out of the ajar door to see which office is the woman's office.
He goes right down towards the end of the corridor and knocks on a door which opens. It's on the right-hand side, so the same side that this main office is on. The door opens and he greets somebody. You can see it in the gesture, and the door closes.
I go back to my seat. I just wanted to know which one it was.
Okay.
Can I just kind of maybe get up and just go around? Is there a computer on the desk, I'm just assuming?
There is a computer on the desk, yes. There's also there's some clipboards and paperwork. You can see there's a sign-in and out sheet on the far end of the office for something. It looks like it kind of all of the stuff. It's kind of semi-paperwork, semi-computer. You imagine all of this might end up on a database somewhere, but...
If there's nothing that looks significant on the browser that is just open on the computer, I want to check the desk and look at sign-in logs, any maintenance paperwork, anything that might kind of point in that direction.
Okay, you have a look at the monitor, which you can do just by kind of leaning over the desk. It looks like it's open on what appear to be meeting schedules, and the kind of there's like a diary half open across some of the keyboard that's got like meeting schedules and stuff like that. So it looks like that there's a physical copy of this that is being copied over into some kind of like Google Calendar like thing. There is a sign-in sheet on the end of the desk, and it's just labeled visitors. It looks like it's dated for today, and if you flick through it, it's just blank sheets, apart from the top one. There are a few names scribbled in. There's at least a couple of names that have got more letters in front of it than you'd ever seen in your life. There's a couple of people that look like they were here to do maintenance of some kind. There's like a German company listed that you gather is some kind of construction company or maintenance company. But this is for today only. It looks like these get changed daily.
So if I see Wings doing this, I won't return to my seat. I'll stay by the door and keep watch, ready to give the signal for her to sit back down.
Yeah, he hasn't come out of the room yet. It's been maybe 30 seconds, a minute or so.
Even though it's for today, I'm just going to make a mental note of the maintenance company, just as any sort of potential link. And if there's nothing else that I see on the desk, just take a kind of quick gander around the room, see if anything kind of looks weird or out of place.
Yeah, I won't make you roll for it because there's kind of you're in here and it's just the both of you. So there are bits of paper and folders stacked up. There is obviously the computer, the desk itself. There are a couple of filing cabinets on the other side of the desk. So if you're still kind of looking over the counter, they're like on the far wall. It's not a very big room. It's quite a kind of small main office. It's you come in, you sign in, you leave, or you're directed somewhere else. It's not kind of a room that any kind of business would be done in. It's just keeping track of that day-to-day comings and goings and things that need to be done. You imagine this is where phone calls are routed to if somebody phones up asking for someone in particular, as opposed to the help desk downstairs.
Okay, I'm going to quickly go to the filing cabinet and open the top drawer and I'm looking for receipts, pink papers, maintenance things, anything that will elude, or a login sheet from previous days if they got it dated or if it's sectioned out by like job or whatever. I'm just looking for any sort of lead in that direction.
Okay, the filing cabinets are open. They haven't been locked.
Okay.
You imagine because this gentleman is in here working. I would like you to make me make me an espionage check as you start to kind of rifle through the papers, and you're trying to do that very quickly, combing through the filing cabinet. So it's an 11. Just gonna roll a dice here. Okay. You start making your way through the papers, and you go through the top two drawers really, really quickly. These don't appear to be the records that you're looking for. This looks to be kind of minor invoices for stuff, some information about like general like information that you'd want on hand to be able to pull up, company numbers, stuff like that. It's the second filing cabinet that you open, and it's the third drawer down that you find the sign-in sheets. And this drawer's a little bit neater than the other two. You don't know if maybe there's two people that work here, someone's messier than the other. As somebody who's used to talking to people, these are kind of behaviors that you pick up on and you can tell the difference. But this is nicely labeled, and you flick through and you find the sign-in sheets. What date did you want this for? The day of the robbery or the day before? Or did you...
I'll take both. Yeah, if I have the opportunity, I'll take both, and I'll hide them in between like my papers for the embassy or whatever. I'll just kind of pull them and hide them.
That's easy enough. You pick them up, you slip them in. You don't even look at them, in between with the rest of your papers that you have in your bag. And it's at this point that Genli, you hear the door open, and the older gentleman walks back down the corridor towards...
And I'll go and sit.
You just make it down in your seat enough to kind of pose as you're looking comfortable as the door opens.
Thank you very much, Jess at GoGJ, for that raid. Welcome, raiders. Lovely to have you.
Hi. Yeah, you managed to get down. The gentleman, he says, I'm so sorry. She is very busy today, but she is happy to see you tomorrow. If you would like to come back around 3:00, she'd be more than happy to have a look at the katana. Like I said, she's not our expert on these kind of things, but she may be able to put you in contact with somebody who can help. If we, the museum, aren't interested in the katana, there may be other collectors who are. We often have private collectors who will be interested in such items.
Absolutely. I do appreciate you doing that, and maybe we can extend our stay a little bit longer so we can come back tomorrow. But thank you so much for doing that. We do appreciate it.
Not a problem. What name would you like me to put down on the appointments list? And you see he goes to sit at the computer and goes to, you can see him clicking on this kind of calendars-like thing, typing in the time and the date, and says, what name would you like me to put this appointment under?
You can put it under Margaret. That's totally fine.
Margaret. And I'm assuming you give him a surname as well to put this under. He types it in and says, yes, 3:00 tomorrow. If you just come back up to the main office, we will sign you in, and hopefully we can be of some help for you.
Awesome. I thank you so much. You've done such a help today, and I'm so sorry to intrude. We must be going. And I'll just kind of prop him up and kind of push him towards the door.
So you make your way back out and downstairs. The two ladies who have gone downstairs, the Legs and Lynx, you have made your way down the stairs. I'd need both of you to roll stealth for me, please, because you're trying to slip down here without being noticed. Someone has already been caught coming up from these stairs today who shouldn't have been there. So
I'd like to preemptively once again threaten the Roll20 servers with incineration and certain death if I roll 4 or lower again.
I'm muted. I will.
A 7!
It's not 2. Let's see what I roll.
For
No,
this game.
roll bad as well. Stealth. No. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
it's okay. It's enough for both of
I
you.
will burn down this whole building!
You've been here, over the course of this time, a couple of hours now. So it's got a bit busy as you're moving into that kind of afternoon, like late morning afternoon time. You manage to slip down the stairs as a large tour group comes in, which blocks a lot of the view. And you make your way down, and it's exactly as Genli described. There is a door, and they all appear to kind of be locked. And you can see the one that looks to be some kind of like maintenance cupboard, and you see the records room, which is also locked, and the office. It's got somebody's name on the door that's long since kind of the stickers have half peeled, which is also locked, and that sharp left-hand bend that goes onto what looks to be a service corridor.
Does our stolen keycard open the records room?
This one is actually a keyed. The records room. Yes, so there is a records room. The office appears to have an old-fashioned key lock, but the records room does have a key card lock.
See if it works with my precious little RFID phone right now.
You bring the phone up and you scan it, and you kind of have to rub it over it a little bit. You think it might be the scanner, but there is a kind of beep as you hear something unclick, and you open the door into not a particularly large records room. You imagine this isn't like the records room for the whole museum, but it might be a more kind of administrative records room that's down here, considering the office is upstairs.
Yeah.
And you go in. It smells a little bit musty in here. There's a little bit of the smell of kind of decaying paper somewhere in the back of the room. But the lights kind of flicker on as you open the door and close it behind you. And you're met with mostly filing cabinets. At the back, you can see there are some shelves that appear to have old files stacked upon them. What would you like to do now you're in here?
Quick scan, just triage, see if this room actually seems like it could be valuable. Decide if I want to spend time here.
Make me maybe an insight test.
Lex, did you go in alone, or did you ask me to join?
I assume you're standing guard just in case someone walks by?
Yeah, but maybe look for a map? Detailed map?
I would absolutely love to, but we both know what my roles have been doing today.
Come on, roll 20, and please ignore the roll I did. I still have no idea why I re-rolled and what key I hit for that.
Regular insight, right?
Yeah.
Come on, roll 20. Gosh darn it. Okay, we need to find definitely someone.
I would like, yeah, no.
So
I'm so done.
You have a look around the room. You thumb through a couple of the files in the cabinets, and they do appear to be administrative files, invoices, what look to be records of who's come in and out, but these will appear to be old. So you imagine that there's probably a filing system upstairs, and once it hits a point, then they move them down here.
Yep.
Nothing in this room really strikes you as odd. It's essentially a dumping ground for the old paperwork. There are some keys up on the wall. There's like some hooks that have been screwed in. Yep. There appears there's 6 hooks, but only 5 sets of keys. It's one in the center that appears to be missing. They're covered in dust, so they might be old keys to old.
Probably not interesting at all.
But other than that, there's nothing really in here that you think would be useful for you anyway. There's no technology in here for you to play around with, apart from the key card, which looks like it's kind of been added to the room to eliminate the use of these keys.
Yep. Cool. Super boring. Nothing interesting. Leaving the room.
Okay, so The legs comes back out, and
Nothing good. Sorry.
Boring, but well, looks old here, so maybe not the best, but let's still. Should we give it a try? I can.
You can go try. I'll wait here.
Virginia, I would guess at least my thief tools I would have been able to bring in, like just spread out all over my, just a little bit here, a little bit there, that it's not showing
Actually,
up.
you probably slip them into like a makeup roll or something that's gone in your handbag. But yes, you do have your thieves' tools with you, so you can attempt to pick the lock.
I would like to try, because if that fails, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Okay. So for that, this is probably going to be, I'm going to say sleight of hand for you to use thieves' tools. The one thing you do notice though, because you have to get right up to the lock to pick it, is that there are scratches on, the kind of plating that you get on lock that look new. They're the kind of scratches you get when you try to put a key into a door and you don't quite get it the first couple of times. But they look new. You can see some of the older ones which have kind of buffed out, but you can tell the new ones because there's a kind of bright flash of the new metal underneath that's been shown.
I will just point that out also to Legs. Someone tried to open this door, and he had some struggles, like just not too long ago.
Okay.
So, at least inside, we should keep an eye open if we see anything. If we get inside, we retreat.
There were a few keys missing in the other room as well. Like there were supposed to be 6 sets, but there was only 5.
That's a natural one. So you try to go with the lockpicks, but you're too busy talking to Legs as you do it, and then you're like nearly there, and then there's a small ping as one of your lockpicks snaps in the lock, and you have to kind of dig it out with the other half of the lockpick to get it out.
While cursing, very low voiced, not too loud, but still.
I'm saying screw it, roll 20. I will be rolling dice.
I can't so far. Just one bad roll. I can't complain that this is unfair. Then I will turn around and go back to the other room because I also still have a key card, so I should be able to just like beep and have a look at the keys.
Just make me a perception test.
Let's see. Perception is a...
Okay. Do you speak German?
Nope.
No. Okay. So you have a look at the keys, and they are dusty, and you kind of rub off the key tabs, and you can't really understand what any of them say. You don't speak German. None of them look like cognitives close enough to English for you to really get what they mean. But there is a set of keys distinctly missing. And as you kind of look down at the filing cabinets beneath, there is sitting there what appears to be a mostly pristine, without any dust on it, manila envelope.
Can't possibly be interesting. Otherwise I would have seen it.
Lex, did you join me in the room? Are you standing guard?
Probably stick with standing guard, right? I'm not sure what I would do if someone came, but yeah, I'll stand guard.
I will go back to the door, just open it, like, Lex, I think I found something.
Great.
Just let
it go.
Okay. I will go back. First question, how many keys are there?
So it's like a couple of them are like single keys, but the rest are kind of like bunches of keys. So there are 6 hooks, but there are 5 sets of keys. So 3 of them are like individual, or they've just got 1 or 2 on it, and the other 2 are like a bunch of keys.
Before I go back, I would have asked Lex as well, just in case she speaks German. I don't think so, but I would have asked her. No? Okay.
No, sorry, only French
Then
and English.
I will definitely take a picture of the keys and whatever is written on there and send it to the rest of the gang. Can anyone tell me what is written there, please?
Okay, all of you get the text message.
Know that at least someone should be able to speak German. That is Wings.
I'll read it really quickly and like say key 1 says this, or like whatever it, however it comes up.
You send those back. Pretty much one of them says effectively like cleaning cupboard, which could be the other room. One of them appears to be labeled records, so perhaps it was the old key that once opened this room. A couple of the others appear to, there's like a bunch of keys and both of those are just labeled essentially like redundant, like old keys. There's no individual tag for them. None of them appear to strike out at you as being particularly interesting. It looks like the other kind of small set might be for a filing cabinet further on in the back. But in these pictures, you've had to kind of, you've taken a picture up close and, one of the room as well. All of you recognize the manila envelope.
I just typed in big letters in chat.
Yeah.
Don't forget the envelope.
I didn't forget, but I first wanted to see if the envelope.
Yeah, it looks like these are
important, so I would just be standing, staring at my phone, just waiting. Like, come on, I need an answer back, and I would stare probably at the envelope, just like carefully using, just like the thing, just like carefully lifting it up, just to see if on the other side something is written there.
So yeah, the keys themselves not particularly interesting. So you're looking at the envelope now. Sorry.
Yeah. Just carefully turning it around if there's something on the other side.
You turn it around and there's nothing on the other side. It's just a blank kind of manila envelope. But the odd thing is there's no dust on it. There's other, like a few other folders and stuff along here, and they're dusty. This one isn't. It's newer, and you kind of peel it open.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to be some kind of requisition order.
Okay. I will pocket it. I will not take a picture. I will just...
What you can do is you can take the actual paperwork out from the file and kind of fold it over.
Yeah.
Place it in your bag.
That I would like to do, and I'm still not better in an idea which key would help us to get to the other room.
You would suspect that if any of the keys here did open the other room, it's the set that are missing.
Quite annoyed, but nothing I can do now because my tools broke and I have no key. I
mean, you have more than just the single lockpick. You can try again. It's just going to be a bit more difficult because you're risking damaging the lock at this point.
I will point out I have the class feature repair equipment.
Okay. So what does that class feature do?
You can heal an object's hit points or restore a piece of equipment to function. Simple objects of small or tiny size can be restored to full hit points with a single action.
Okay, in which case I will say, yeah, you can...
I was outside fixing her lockpicks.
Yeah, I imagine that perhaps you've kind of handed them over to Legs while you're in the room, and when you come out, Legs has presented you with... she's taken one of the other tools and bent it kind of into the right shape with some small...
I basically made it a multi-tool.
Yeah, so you've managed to, you haven't kind of fixed the snap metal, but you've reworked what you can to get it functioning again. So if you want to try and pick that lock again, you can.
I will give it a try. Thanks, Lex. That was quickly repaired.
You're welcome. At least I didn't have to roll for it, because then it would have broken even further.
Take a deep breath and try again. Nope.
Just roll real dice. Give up on roll 20.
It worked so far.
Just let it go.
We are not allowed to enter the room. That's just basically the answer.
Karma says no. Karma says walk away.
You try to pick the lock, and you just can't get it. The lock is really stiff. You can imagine that maybe that's why there's scratch marks over the plate, that whoever has opened it recently has kind of... Obviously, you put the key in and it doesn't really turn. So you keep trying it again, until thinking it's the wrong key, and then realizing the lock's just really stiff. So you can't quite get in there.
Defeated by an old lock. That's really annoying for Lynx. That's not what usually happens, but I don't think we would get
Is
this.
this the kind of lock you can just sort of gently drill out and just remove?
You could try.
Oh god, that probably means. Oh wait, I'm trying with my real die.
Give it a try.
Tiny
I'm
little
actually-
hand drill.
Little, yeah, I'll say that you have that. We'll add that to a gadget that you have later on when we requisition some gadgets.
Cool.
And I would
It
have
does
a
say
bag.
apparently I walk around with mechanics tools. I'm not sure where I'm keeping those because that just sounds a little
I
excessive.
imagine that you can kind of put some stuff away, and you are spies. You do get kind of smaller versions of things, hidden versions of things.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you have a kind of, it's almost like a small battery-powered drill, probably hidden in like a lipstick case or something, that you can get out. And it's not massively powerful, but it's just enough if you want to try and like get the plate off to push the lock through.
It probably. I mean, considering how many thieves' tools this lock has cost us, it seems it's either this or kicking the door in. So
Make me a mechanics check, please.
plan B before we do plan A. I will be rolling on my freaking desk and not in roll 20. Mechanic. I rolled a 13 plus 2 for a 15.
15. Okay, I'm just going to roll a dice here. My dice rolls is awful tonight. You managed
Welcome to roll 20. It hates us all equally.
You drill out the screws that hold the front plate in and pull that off. And it's just enough for you to get into the lock and basically drill it out from the inside. And the door clicks open. But it is visible now that the lock has been damaged.
Well, we already saw the scratch marks before it was already. Oh. Sorry.
You step into an office that is. There's some desks in here. There's some old office furniture kind of piled up. It looks like this is being used as some kind of storage room, kind of dumping room. Everywhere's got one, just a room that you just fill with stuff. What you do notice is the one thing that's out of place in here is what looks to be a kind of worker's shirt and a black holdall that's empty on the floor.
Black what, sorry?
A black like holdall bag. It's about this big, about that deep. It's the kind of like gym bag, almost like.
Okay. I just didn't know the word. All right.
Yeah, there is a worker's shirt here and an empty black holdall.
Okay, I'll nudge over Lynx. Go on. Have a look.
I will have a closer look at the bag, just to open it carefully and see if it's really completely empty or if we can see anything.
You open it up and there is another worker's shirt that's been shoved in here. There's no other clothing in here at all. You search the rest of the bag and it's empty. But it's modern. It's not dusty. It's not kind of like dust. Like when things get dusty and it kind of leaches the color from them.
I will just basically put the worker's clothes back in, shut it, and just take the bag with me with what is inside. Maybe whatever we can find later in peace and quiet. I would still look around the computer. We don't see a computer, right?
No, there's not one in here.
I would have guessed so. So old. Should we just have more of a walk and see where this leads? If there is an exit, because it seems they came in here and switched clothing.
You can take a walk down the corridor if you like. I'm going to leave it there just for a second. We're going to switch over to the doctor, who has been hard at work in the hotel room.
Right. So, would anyone on our team be specialized, like, in let's see. I think probably legs would probably be best for this because specializing in metals and things like that, right? So
Yeah.
dealing with the reaction. So I would probably send her the information on finding the iron and the aluminum oxide.
Okay.
Since their specialty.
Lex, you get a message from the doctor on your phone, and it. What is it? What exactly do you say?
There seems to be a product of the reaction. Ended out final elements or final chemical compositions were iron and aluminum oxide. Is there anything that you know that would have these end products?
So I did already ask this in chat to Virginia because I know, but I don't know if the legs knows. But if it's what I think it is something that is used in metallurgy and making gadgets, and actually in making things that sort of flash and burn up after you read or use them.
What was it exactly that you asked? So the Zoom chat has been moving, but I've also been...
Yeah, sorry, we're also talking to each other. No, if like I said, I kind of confused hacker and technician, so I'm less with the hacking, obviously, but a reaction that causes aluminum and iron oxide, or aluminum oxide and iron, would be thermite.
Yes.
Is there a fair chance a technician would know about thermite? Because you
I'm gonna
use it in building, you use it in blowing shit up. It's a very fun compound.
I'm not even going to make you roll for it, because if that's what you've guessed, then yes.
I absolutely love thermite.
Yeah, this screams thermite to you.
Yeah, cool. I'll text him back. Yeah, sounds like thermite.
Okay.
Don't lick it.
So for anyone who has no idea what that is or is looking on Twitch, I'm sure most people do, but thermite reactions, they burn super, super hot and super, super localized. And they can be...
And super fast.
And very fast, yeah. They can be really nasty. I have seen a thermite reaction go off on the floor of a science lab by accident. It's not fun. They get very, very hot, and they kind of produce oxygen as well, which is a whole other level of complicated. But yes, you get a text back from the legs, basically telling you outright it's thermite. That's the end product of a thermite reaction.
Right. So I guess I could just send out to everyone based off of what Legs has said. Just the fact that the heat and the oxygen produced from thermite, it would be possible to blow out the case for the bust. If not, that being able to simply open up the thermite being used to open up the case itself is also possible.
Just make an intelligence test for me. Sure. Just a straight intelligence roll. And add your proficiency to it.
20.
Okay. You sit and you think about this. You're trying to play out the scenario in your head. The thermite was not found. This byproduct of a thermite reaction was not found anywhere near the casing of the bust.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something else that caused that glass to shatter.
Right.
However, you start thinking about the floor. The floor is made of marble. It's like marble tiles. Hence why there's this powder, and there's no kind of scorch marks as such, because it's marble. Although it's hot, you can kind of buff stuff out, and it's a lot more resilient. But you start wondering about the lasers. Something triggered the lasers, but they're not working now. They must have had to shut them off at some point to get through them.
Mm.
And the security cameras. And where do most, electronics and stuff run? Down walls and under floors. You start looking into thermite reactions, and you can actually localize them pretty well. They're not kind of like big boom kaboom explosives. You can create smaller thermite reactions that directed on an area, which is why they can be so well used for metallurgy and stuff like that, because although they're very volatile, they are easy to control in terms of their size and their spread. You start to wonder if some of these security systems were taken out by such a reaction. Because they burn very quickly, you don't have a lot of time for a room to fill with lots of smoke, and you can, for the most part, keep them covered. I know this from experience. You can spray carbon dioxide over the top of these things and they will keep going for a while. So you start to wonder if perhaps actually they use this to take out some of the security systems by just burning the cables through the floor. But it still doesn't answer what shattered the glass, though. There's something not quite there. But perhaps this explains the dead security cameras. Perhaps this explains why the lasers had stopped working. But they definitely use this to take something out.
Interesting. Not sure there's too much more that the doctor could do at this point with that.
Okay, we'll jump back. Links in the legs. Is there anything else you wanted to look at? Because I think at this point everyone's probably ready to come back and see what they found.
We just followed
around the corner,
to see if there's an exit entrance, like the street or back door or something like that.
Yeah, you have a look round. There isn't really. It's a maintenance corridor from this point on. The walls themselves are a little bit more, they're like painted white, a little bit more modern. It looks like possibly there was an older corridor system here that at some point has been kind of renewed. There's like cleaning trolleys and carts and stuff like that here. There's some furniture piled up. You follow it for a little bit until you hear voices coming down the other end before making your way back. There's no street entrance here that you can see. It appears to kind of basically be the bowels of the museum.
In that case, I think sneak out, meet back up with the rest and discuss.
Yep.
Oh, is there anything anyone else would like to do at the museum before we jump back to the hotel?
So many things, but I'll probably have to sneak in at night to find out about them.
Okay. You go back to the hotel and you start having a look at the evidence that you have. For time, I'm just going to narrate this if everyone is okay with that.
Cool.
The paperwork that you found, Links, in that manila folder appears to be some kind of requisition order from a private collector who is requisitioning back, like taking something back that he has lent the museum. His name is Alistair Hawthorne. The registered address is somewhere in the English countryside. There's a couple of requisition requests in this folder that are all dated for the same day. It looks like he's trying to get back some pieces that he appears to be a private collector of some kind who has lent some items to the museum, who appears to be wanting to retrieve them back at the end of their kind of loan period. The doctor can easily tell you about the thermite reaction evidence that he's found, and that perhaps this is what was used to take out the lasers. You still don't know what shattered the glass, though. You have a look through the records that you stole from the filing cabinet, Wings and Genley, and you pull out the sign-in sheets for that day. There is a couple listed for maintenance and some plumbing issues. What actually gets you is the one that is listed for not maintenance. It's just listed for visitors. And there are some names put down. There is a Mr. D. Averbridge and a Mr. A. Carthright, who appears to be the only two visitors that were signed in for filing a requisitions order. The thing that is most odd, and I think Lynx and Wings and the legs, you can all recognize this, is that the sign in signatures is obviously different for each gentleman. The sign out signatures, the first one matches the sign in. On the second name, the signature doesn't quite match. It's like somebody else has drawn it in. Somebody else has signed out the second man. It's not the same handwriting. From everything that you can gather, somebody came in with a requisitions order for this gentleman. 2 men came in and 1 left. Along with the holdall that you found and the maintenance shirts, it's possible that either somebody came back later to join the second man with this holdall, or it was already here from a previous drop-off. But you now know how somebody got into the museum that night. They didn't break in, they were already here. And Lynx, it suddenly clicks as you're looking at all of this evidence, because you can see the work of other criminals. You worked on a few cases that were heists at a gallery maybe 10 years ago. And this bears the mark of a kind of mercenary company almost, that specialize in stealing items such as antiquities, usually for the black market or private collectors. You never really found out who they were. You recovered some of the items that they'd stolen, not all of them, but a couple. But you do know that they basically work to order. Somebody wants something. These guys are contracted. They go and take it, and they bring it to a private collector. There have been more than a handful of art pieces and antiquities that have ended up in the hands of private collectors through these people.
Definitely share with the rest of the team.
So somebody has most likely ordered and paid the bust of Queen Nefertiti to be stolen for a private collection. And that is where we're going to leave tonight. As you've just figured out this information and you maybe have some names now. And then next week, we're going to see if you can recover this bust.
Wow. You guys, this is so cool.
That is very cool.
That
It is very
was
cool.
so amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to actual dice next week though. 'Cause
Well,
that is-
normally we would have some credits to leave out on. Today we don't, so I'd like to go round instead, so we have a moment to outro ourselves. Let us know who you are, where we can find you online, what your favourite part of today's one-shot is, and what you're looking forward to next week. Let's start with Anikster again. We'll go around the same way.
Yay! My name is Anik. You can find me at Anikster on Twitter. Favorite part of the day. Oh, tricky one. I think both me and my character figuring out thermite was an important part of this, because I actually used it accidentally, I will add before I say anything else, to blow up a fume hood in high school. It was an accident. I was researching fireworks, and it went a little hotter than I thought.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you very much, Anik. Next round we have Wild Engineer.
Yes, hi, I'm Wild Engineer. Gosh, this was a lot of fun. My favorite part was definitely the whole everyone working to create a distraction, get Lynx in and out of that room. That was great.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it also. Next we have Ray with a brick.
Hey, I am Ray. I play here this time every Monday, and I also play at 9:30 or it's 10:30 9:30 for me. It's 10:30 for everybody else that watches the channel. With Kelly and Scrat and our wonderful trash dumpster fire party and a D&D campaign. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I've ever mentioned that during the stream, so I wanted to make a point to do that today. But yeah, you can find me on the interwebs as with a brick. Yay. And my favorite part was definitely that whole intro scene, the key card sliding and the effortless, planning that went into it. That was very, very cool, very spy-esque.
Yeah, definitely. Next we have Vicky, QDV.
Yes, I loved it. It's spy stuff. You have to love it, right? So it's just all my favorite movies, everything you can pull out. What did they do there? What did they do there? And finding out all the stuff. So I'm looking forward to next week. We will find it. I believe in us. Let's see. You can find me on Twitter on QDV or QD_V, and you can see me Thursdays on Encounter Roleplay playing Conan, and Mondays as usual here. So next week for more spy stuff. Looking forward to it. And thank you, Virginia. It was so much fun.
Yes, Virginia, this was amazing. Thank you so much. My favorite part has got to be the way that we seamlessly went into spy actions together, just without like you said, no planning, just we're taking photos, you're sliding this stuff over here, I'm watching the door, you're doing camera. We've all clearly been brushing up on our spy movies, and it's amazing. Virginia, how about yourself?
I've loved all of this. This has been really awesome. So thank you so much for having me on to do this. Thank you guys for being awesome players. I think my favorite was that beginning bit where it was like something out of a spy film where someone's doing something, you drop the key card and you pass it. There's a film, I can't think of what it is, but it reminds me of they do a whole thing with a card that just passes between all of them, and that kind of just seamless moment of getting slipping in and out.
Now you see me. Now you and two.
And hey, look, guessing the thermite reaction, that was pretty cool. I was alluding to it. I was like, I wonder. So I had to look up whether aluminium was magnetic, because my brain went blank for a second. I was like, I don't think it is, but yeah, I also have a fun thermite story of I once saw it dropped in a science lab because it was set up and nothing happened. So I went to move it and it all kind of went off. It was great fun. But yeah, all of this has been such great fun, and I can't wait for next week when we can get to some of the other really cool stuff, like some of the actual infiltration mechanics. And all of the exciting stuff I have planned, because there are maps. So I want to very quickly also say thank you to Sam and James, who are both in the chat. James is in under Black Cats Gaming, and Sam is there under RPG Webby. So you can follow them over on Twitter if you've enjoyed watching the spy game. This is their creation. They are kickstarting. I have this written down because I'm so bad at outros. They are kickstarting 2nd of July, and if you go to blackcatsgaming.com you can sign up to their newsletter. And if you want to play this, the quick start is up on DriveThruRPG right now, so if you search for the spy game quick start on DriveThruRPG you can find this. This isn't the quick start adventure, so it won't ruin anything for you if you're watching this and you want to also play the quick start adventure, which is a lot of fun. And you can see us playtesting it on Sundays on Sam's channel at RPG Webby on Twitch at 4 p.m. I want to say. I think it's 4. I can't remember. I'm quite tired. But you can find me on Twitter at Tabletop Horde as well. I've got my schedule up there. I'm also on Sam's after the fire game, which is Thursdays starting at 9 p.m. UK time, and the Sky Chasers stream on Sunday starting at 9 p.m. UK time on Tales from the Grim, because we love Greg.
We do love Greg. Greg is our favorite.
That's GM'd by Charlie, who is at Frost from Fire on Twitter.
Yeah.
I hope I get everyone's Twitter handles right. But yeah, Scrat, thank you so much for having me on again. This has been great fun, and I'm excited for next week.
A pleasure to have you. I too am excited for next week. I can't wait to be a stabby boy. Yeah, it's gonna be so hype, and I'm having so much fun with it. Everyone, please take a moment to check out our links as we close out. We've got all our social links there, places you can go to support us, sponsor information. Big thank you to Bird and Storm Publishing and Mage Hand Press who make this all possible. Also, thank you also to Black Cats Gaming who have let us come and play this, and hopefully there'll be even more to come as they go into kickstarting and stuff. Today we are going to go on a raid. We are going to go and raid Malaveth. Now, why, you may ask? Why would we raid Malaveth? Well, because they are the artists that designed all of the Pride emotes that people are getting gifted in chat right now. So, if you appreciate having all the Pride emotes, I think not only can we spam our raid cry, we can also just go in and spam all of our Pride emotes, and I'm sure that we won't get auto-modded or anything like that, he says confidently. So, good night, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Look forward to seeing the conclusion of this little two-shot next week. And keep on evoking emotions. We'll see you in about an hour and a half for Doors of Daenerys. And at the same time next week for more of this. Bye!